Alright, that's probably about as much of a wind-up as we need. Hello, gang! Welcome, welcome. It's just little old me this time. I figured we hadn't spent some time on an art stream in a hot minute, and I could use an audience to help me focus on my goddamn work for a minute. So I hope you guys enjoy the chill vibes, the conversation, and the potential guests we may have swinging by. I ran up a flag in my collab server, so we might have some buddies from there popping in this evening. As always, feel free to ask any questions about my process. Like all artists, I am just in this shit for the attention. Yeah, I've been really looking forward to designing this character specifically. This is the first CyberRats game to add the ability to play as like a regular human. And I like we slightly gloss over what's going on with like regular humans in the first two CyberRats games. Like the fact that you're not seeing them in the Megacorps kind of implies how things are going for them employment wise. But now that they are actually viable player characters, I wanted to make it clear that they have been doing rough. Like, medically, they're just a lot more sensitive than all the toxic super mutants that make up the rest of humanity these days. So, like, a lot of doctors don't even know how to treat them, and the ones that do, as you can see, it's more triage than care.
I'll say.
Oh, Turtles, you're here. 1 second, let me adjust this. Cannot hear you much at all. I'm just gonna turn down my music. 1 sec. Welcome to the party, my dude.
Hey, welcome. Why am I saying welcome? I'm not hosting. Hi, thanks for letting me in.
My absolute pleasure. Y'all in the chat, let me know if you can hear Curdles okay.
Hope you can. I have so many scintillating opinions to offer.
Fire away.
Oh God. I watched The Rage Carrie 2 and I liked it. How's that?
Oh, hell yeah. What the fuck is that?
It is a very ill-advised sequel to Brian De Palma's classic horror film Carrie. You'll
What?
know. Yeah.
What?
1999. The
Oh.
ideal time to make such a thing. You might be asking, how'd they make a sequel to Carrie? She dies. Everyone in that thing dies. She had a half sister, I guess.
Ah, I see.
Way later.
We're taking the Leisure Suit Larry approach.
Yeah, just
Excellent.
I don't know. There's a second Carrie, and she's got the same powers. It's it's very 90s mall goth core, and I kind of adored it for that reason.
Oh, that sounds incredibly charming, actually. It sounds a little bit like what happened with Scary Movie, where it's like, oh, now he's hunting down the cousins of the people who he victimized last time. Yeah, all right, all right, all right. You know, I can do a little bit of that. You're allowed to be silly. We do silly around here. I saw Jason X or Jasonx.
Oh, jeez. I wish I liked Jason X.
There's a lot of fun ideas there, and like, you
It's
can't. Go ahead.
it's too in on the joke for me.
I feel that. I don't know because getting in on the joke also got us the Last Jedi. So I feel like you have to be able to get away with it sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
Like nothing
I
can
will
go
say my
on.
favorite part
Yeah, go
is when they trap him on the holodeck. It's like, hey, do you want to have some premarital sex? And we smash cut, and he's just
ahead.
smashing the two of them together. I thought that was great.
That was a good bit. Solid stuff. Good self-referential humor. Man, that reminds me. On the subject of like horror movies being weird about sex, I wish I liked Nosferatu more. It was fun, but like it was nice seeing a horror movie where instead of it being like if you fuck you die, it's like you see how repressed you were. It summoned the devil. Wouldn't it have been easier to just jack off? But like I liked that as a concept, but the rest of it seemed a little thin on the ground.
It's I liked it when I saw it, and I think I still do like it. However, I watched the Werner Herzog Nosferatu the next day, and
Ooh.
I went, "Oh, wait, this is the same movie." It didn't have much of a Robert Eggers spin on it, or at least not as much as I was hoping for. So I'm watching vampire stuff for the next video I'm working on. So I'll probably do all three and then do a compare and contrast.
Oh, sick. My buddy was like a big Nosferatu head, and they very much like hyped up the value, cinematic and otherwise, of the original, like the original. And so like that's
Yeah.
kind of next on my list right now. I actually have a really funny story about the Robert Eggers Nosferatu. 1 second. Hey Defiant, mind if I sell you out with a story? Oh wait, I don't think she can hear me. It basically she's involved in the funny Nosferatu story. 1 second.
That's the way you do it, folks. You got an embarrassing story to tell about your spouse. You interrupt the entire thing, grind the whole string to a halt to go ask permission.
What?
That's an example to live by. I was talking to the audience. I said, that's the way to do it, folks. If you got an embarrassing story to tell about your spouse, you drop the whole stream, grind the whole thing to a halt, and go ask permission.
Well, it's my stream. I can go goof around. But yeah, apparently she stepped out
That's
without me
understandable.
noticing.
I like it.
Yep. But yeah, I can get you with that one later. It is still very funny to me. We've probably told it on stream before, but I don't know if you personally have heard it. But yeah. Sorry?
I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll catch you up on that in a bit. I was talking to you about checking out Glorious the other day. That movie is not good. Like, that's a solid 5 out of 10, and, like, in order to get less than a 5 out of 10, I have to actively regret watching it. Like, I have to sit there at the end of the movie and be like, I could have spent that 2 hours making soup. But
Sitting on the floor looking at the ceiling.
exactly. But there is a bunch of interesting ideas, and I recommend everybody check it out at least once. Also, Defiance back, so I can sell her out now. Can I tell your Nosferatu story?
Yes, but first, the dryer, I put more coins in it, and I put the thing in, and it got stuck.
Oh. Oh, that happened with me too. You had to jam it in further.
I tried.
Do you need me to check it out?
I'm sorry.
Okay, so we're gonna grind the stream to a halt one more fucking time while I check on the laundry
That's
thing.
it.
Sorry, not the most professional, but I will be back in 5. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, I'm the worst. I'm back. We good? We good? Everything fine and dandy?
God, I hope so.
Uh,
Any kind of maintenance or anything.
yeah, turns out the washing machine's just bricked. So, but the good news is, since my wife interrupted the stream, she has now given me permission to tell the story. So, big horror movie household over at Shea Boog Defiant, right? That's basically like, like our date night is usually throwing on like some new thing from Shudder or something like that. And it's a fun thing to have, but it also means that when it comes to selecting a movie for date night, you can pick something that you both really, really enjoy and still have fucked up vis-a-vis the context of date night. For instance, a couple of weeks ago, we finally threw on The Substance, and while The Substance is a fantastic movie, nobody's thinking about smooching afterwards. Um, but one evening, while Nosferatu is still in theaters, I try throwing something together and go, hey, babe, let's go check this out. Uh, my wife used to be very scared of horror movies, like to the point of it, like really, really being difficult for her to engage at all. Which is, it's cute, But as we're going to this movie, she's not scared of horror movies much at all anymore, but she thinks when she's getting prepared, what if I've only not been scared of horror movies because I haven't been seeing them in the theater? What if the magic of cinema brings back all those old concerns? Because it had been a while since we'd gone out. We'd been broke for a little while. Like, a lot of dates had been, like, board game night for a hot minute. So like, she had lost familiarity with just going out and doing shit for a little bit. And so she goes, "You know what? I'll just I'll snag a Xanax and see how that gets me through the movie." Now, she usually only takes half a Xanax for anything, but she goes, "You know what? How about I take a whole one just to be safe?" She throw like she pops that thing when we are a couple blocks away from the movie and we get into the audience and it starts to hit right when the movie is starting. And I see her pupils turn huge. And the way that she described her mental state afterwards is, what am I worried about? This is a movie. I like movies." And like,
Love the Lumiere brothers.
yeah, love to eat popcorn, baby. Uh, but as we're like coming out, I'm trying to talk to her about the movie, and it's like, "What did you think?" "I don't know." What was your favorite part?" "I cannot tell if the movie had parts." Like, because, monster fuckers and like weird like desire related stuff and like fucked up Victorian themes, that's all very much her shit. So I knew something was off until finally I suggest, like, "Do you want to go out for Thai food?" "Also do not know." The way she explained the issue to me later, um, she also did not know Nosferatu was a retelling of Dracula. So there was a solid period for like the first half of the movie as characters' names get introduced and more plot points come up. And she goes like, "Wait, this is just Dracula. Oh, are we in the wrong theater? Are we came here to see Nosferatu. This is Dracula."
Nosferatu doesn't have a mustache.
Yeah. Where's the bald fella? It was very cute.
Funny.
It's very cute, and I love her very much.
My girlfriend and I saw it on Christmas.
Ooh.
We wanted to go. Well, I wanted to go to the midnight premiere. I've never done that on Christmas before. I always hear people tell me seeing movies on Christmas is great. I'm like, I'm not anti-Christmas, but I have a bit of a mean streak when it comes to Christmas.
No, no,
So I
no.
will indulge in subtly anti-Christmas things.
No, I
See
also
Nosferatu at midnight.
I am also something of a humbug enjoyer. I get it.
Yeah. Um, it didn't occur to me that going to the movies on Christmas is popular, and that means lots of people do it. So
Ah.
lots of people will be there. We went to three different theaters before we found one that had a showing that was not sold out. They had two seats left, and we got because nothing premieres at midnight anymore. They're starting the shit at like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
The day before. So we're like, well, let's just do it at like 10:30, and then when it's out, it'll be midnight. And ooh, spooky, cold, Christmas time, hee hee.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see it till 1 a.m.
Oof.
because they were all sold out, and so we had to sit in the lobby for like 2.5 hours, probably as long as the movie. And I'm like, well, I really want a snack, but if I go get it now, I'm gonna eat the whole thing before the movie even starts.
Yeah.
You know, which is different from my normal problem, which is to eat the whole thing before the first previews are done.
Yeah.
So I waited. I'm like, I'm just gonna wait. I'll get my snack 5 minutes before the movie starts. Great. And 5 minutes before the movie starts is 12:55 a.m. I check my watch. People start coming out. All the doors open. We hear Wicked blaring. Okay, it's time to go get my popcorn. I go over and they're sweeping up and all the lights are off.
What, they like just ended it early?
They just, well, yeah, it was almost 1 a.m. They're not selling concessions anymore.
That seems. I don't know. Plenty of movie theaters I worked at were willing to keep you there until 7 a.m. the next morning. You were willing, they were like, "You have to be willing to die in this ticket booth." Back when I was doing the movie theater beat.
I felt a tiny bit ripped off. I'm like, I came here on Christmas. This is my most American consumer moment ever. I'm like, I'm here. You just lost yourself a customer.
No, no, no. I'm right there with you. It's supposed to be a special experience. Like, how much are they charging for those matinee tickets?
Oh God, I don't know. I try not to think about it.
There. Sorry, go on.
Oh, we stayed. We watched it. I liked it. I asked my girlfriend what she thought, and she's like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay. They get home, and I'm like, I really like this part. Did you like it? That happened. And it was at this point we realized that she had fallen asleep for a significant portion.
Oh, oh, that's cute though.
As mentioned, it was 1 a.m. And there were people all around us who were like taking selfies, talking, and the way most people online talk about their theater going experience makes me think they live in Gotham City. Like it's just tales of crime and debauchery all over the place. I have never really had a bad theater crowd except for that one, which was very rowdy and full of screaming teens. So that was annoying. Um, 4 stars. Would see again.
I could see that. I think that back when I worked in movie theaters, the worst one that I ever like had to deal with was when we were showing. I forget if it was the second or first Sex in the City movie, but that is the worst crowd I ever had to deal with working at a movie theater. They like I was technically supposed to stop people from sneaking in drinks, but like not it. It wasn't that these middle-aged women were too good at concealing vodka. It's that they considered it their innate God-given right not only to sneak in vodka but to not be noticed.
Naturally.
Like if I pointed out you can't bring that drink in here, it wasn't even like, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's like, "Shut up, you're ruining this for me." It's it like it's not only like if I was a security guard at Disneyland telling them not to do something, but specifically that I was telling them not to get too close to Mickey Mouse. Like, no, vodka is the mascot of Sex in the City and must be present for my unique Sex in the City experience.
Were they selling drinks in the theater when you worked at one?
Oh no, I was a teenager at the time, so that was before this. That was a thing.
That was before they jammed an Applebee's into every theater.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they desperately want people to go back to them a little bit, and I feel like they get away with more of it if they just focused on the matinee thing. Like the IFC over in Greenwich Village, that place is still like bumping, and they're generally showing like a prolonged divorce story through the perspective of multiple generations of housefly in the couple's house.
Mm.
So like,
Oh,
clearly people are willing to go to the movie theater. You
yeah.
maybe just need to cleave a little bit further away from the Marvel stuff.
God, I feel like it's half on Hollywood. At some point, the theaters need to get together and send a letter and say, effective immediately, please start making good movies. I
Well,
understand this is a change in policy, may be difficult, but it's for the best.
I do think part of it's just like tech bro investor guys started taking an interest in the Hollywood scene, and they started wanting guaranteed successes, which is not how anything that like that works. But you have to at least show that you're trying to get that. So they focus group everything to fucking death.
It is maddening the way that tech bros and investors have infiltrated everything. And this is going to lead to me admitting one of my most crackpot opinions.
Oh hell yeah.
Let's let's get the mob back into Hollywood.
No, no, that you're right. I'm really with you on this. Actually, that would take care of a lot of these issues, wouldn't it?
Because at least when Hollywood was mobbed up, they understood if the movies are good, people will pay to see them.
Yeah.
You know,
Like this was not a difficult concept. God, like it really strikes me sometimes. We had generations of best practices for producing like multiple seasons of really good television and movies, and like it would cut like it worked for over 40 years, and then one day like somebody just wanted to shake up and threw all of it out, and now everything like gets 8 episodes a season, and half of them are like Arby's ads. It's fucking. Ugh.
the new season of Star Trek is 10 episodes long, and like, one of them is a
Oh.
Muppet episode, and one of them is a musical or something. And I'm just like, Christ alive!
We're,
You
we're
build a spaceship set. Just give them a problem to talk about for 40 minutes. You know?
yeah. I mean, like, are we trying to do Buffy here? What's the idea?
That's oh, you're right. Strange New Worlds has a lot of Buffy energy, and I mean that in the bad way. I
I
don't have anything against Buffy, but it's like
I
they don't know why people like Buffy when they try to do it on Strange New Worlds.
I mean, I might have something against Buffy because I feel like a lot of Buffy fans don't know what they like about Buffy. Like, I don't know. There was a long period of time before we knew he was a sex pest where you couldn't escape Joss Whedon witty dialoguing himself over fucking everything. And I do think people like quips, people like memeable moments, but they don't know what makes a good show, so they just remember those bits that they repeat to each other on Facebook all the time. Like this is absolutely me being a fucking boomer about this, but also I'm right, so shouldn't count.
I have been protected somewhat by my contrarian nature because I didn't watch Buffy growing up. I've seen a little bit of it, and I think it's good. It's probably just not for me.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Firefly growing up. It was only on for 5 minutes, so nobody had a chance. But for years, I heard all the catchphrases and the memes, and like "curse your sudden inevitable betrayal" and
Yeah.
these witticisms. I'm like, well, that sounds like something I'd like. Sci-fi starts doing reruns, and I watch it, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Well, I think that
You
you've
guys
hit.
all teaming up to make fun of me?
Well, I mean, I feel like you've actually hit the nail on the head on like why we get these short seasons these days in general. Because I feel like a bunch of producers looked at that and goes, "See, you don't need a full season. You just need enough of them to fit you curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal like 5 or 6 times." And people are still talking about it. My dad was obsessed with that show, which means I ended up watching it back to front. And I loved it at the time because I was watching a sci-fi show with my dad. Like, I'm not a hard sell in that
Oh
case.
yeah,
You put on Andromeda,
that factor is a big bump.
like you put on Andromeda with me and him in the room, and like we'll be able to at least be like, yeah, Kevin Sorbo can. I wouldn't say act, but he's there. Uh, but like, I do think like this is also before we knew Kevin Sorbo was a piece of shit. Um,
Yeah.
but like looking back at Firefly, all the parts were there for just Joss Whedoning as hard as he could without much else there. Did you see that they did like a comic to like be a closure to the series, and it
Yep.
absolutely sucked hard and fast all the way through.
I believe that. I didn't read it because
Because why would
I
you?
don't care. Why would I? My rule is I don't read like movie or TV tie-in comics.
Yeah.
They just never work.
Yeah, you
And
shouldn't. They're bad.
I always root for them. They announced a Twilight Zone comic series
Ooh.
starting next year, I think. And the gimmick is that each issue is done by a different creative team, black and
Ooh.
white.
Like
That sounds like a good idea.
like Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Except hopefully more than one good episode.
Oh, you only liked one episode of that? I had a pretty high opinion of it.
I loved the autopsy one.
Oh,
It was
that
called the autopsy.
that one was the
I
best one.
thought that was awesome. Yeah, that one was great. I watched, I think, 4 of them total, and that was the only one that I liked all the way through. Others had little moments where I'm like, oh, that's cool, but they either felt like they ended right as it was getting good, or they just never went far enough with their premise. The one that sort of sums up my problems with, again, what I watched of the series, I didn't finish it, was I forget what it's called, but it was the one where the woman in the 80s is like kind of mousy and um, a little bit jealous of all her friends who are all like sort of glamorous.
Oh, the taxidermy one.
Taking this, yeah, that one. She takes like a cream to like make her ideal body.
No, I love that one as well. That was actually the one I was like, about to bring up next. Is like you didn't like this one? Um, I would say that
It
those.
went on forever and nothing happened.
I like a slow burn. That works for me. Like I get if you're looking for something a little bit more like meaty, but that was certainly just fine. I think that like there was that one. There was the rats one. Did you check that one out?
The rats one was fun. I forgot about that one.
The rats one was great, and it's I forget the name of the actor. He was also in Stargate SG-1 and Cube. Not Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis.
Oh yeah, Jason Momoa.
No, the not that one. The one that the one who specializes in playing a fucking wiener, right? Like
Yeah.
big nerd.
God, what's that guy's name?
Uh, those two, those ones I really enjoyed. I'd say the weakest one was probably the Pikmin's Model one, and like you could have predicted that for it being a adaptation of a Lovecraft story, because like I enjoy Lovecraft, but I'll be the first to admit most people trying to do Lovecraft do not get what is good about his work.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
the they want to play with the monsters too quickly and they give the game away.
yes. I think about that a lot with what was the guy's name? The writer who was a huge Lovecraft fanboy.
August Derleth.
Yes. And how it's funny to look back at this and recognize patterns in fandom. We're
Yeah.
seeing the same thing happen to the Backrooms. We saw the same thing happen to like Slender Man and Creepypasta.
Oh,
Which
absolutely.
is somebody's like, oh, that's really cool and scary. I want to work with that. And then they come up with like a list of heroes and villains, and it becomes an epic struggle that's good and evil. And there's lore and mythical weapons, and like, ugh, come on,
Yeah.
guys.
Like you, there is no piece of like analog minimalist horror that will survive contact with fandoms that want more. I feel like that's kind of what happened to like Five Nights at Freddy's in general. And like,
Ugh.
so here's the thing: I got to watch that whole thing like grow up around like the original game, right? I when it first hit the street, like that shit hit the YouTuber scene like crack cocaine in the '80s. Like that was inescapable. But part of the reason for that is that it was doing something new and clever for the genre. It activates your fight or flight response, and then you cannot run and you cannot fight. It was distilled dopamine and anxiety, and since everything was not that yet, that was interesting. Um, but the fan and like the original game had little hints about the kind of person your main character might be, and like it was never meant to be further examined, right? They're just little details. Like if you beat the hardest difficulty, you get fired, and the pink slip cites like messing with the animatronics and odor. It's just a little like nod to like, oh, you messed with the settings to get a harder difficulty, and and that was canonically what happened, and you got fired for it. That's cute. People kept digging so far into the lore that I almost feel like the writer was pressured to be like, oh fuck, they want legendary heroes and villains. They want William Afton to keep coming back over and over again. They want a they want a world-spanning drama that they can engage with. And I do not think anyone actually wanted that. I think that fan bases were enjoying conjecturing, talking about it. They they essentially Morbius themselves, where they mistook the memes for an incarnation of what like people actually wanted out of it. And like to be fair, I do not
Yeah.
mind this creator shafting himself on this because he's also a piece of shit. But it's interesting to examine how these things happen.
It's very fascinating to see things like that just run away with themselves. Because it always happens in the exact same way. Fandom always flattens things out so much. And I say this, I participate in fandom.
Oh, same.
For God's sakes, I'm a superhero guy. So, but when will we learn? You know?
Well, I mean, like it's funny in webcomics, it's kind of referred to as Cerberus syndrome. Did you ever read
Oh,
Cerberus? Or
no.
yeah, it's
That Cerberus?
yeah, that's Cerberus. Where it's like, oh, here's a story about a funny aardvark. But they keep escalating and finding ways to get more complicated. We did a little side story about him dimension hopping. Dimension hopping. Why don't we go back to the dimension hopping thing? Actually, I think I have a lot to say about women.
No. No. Stay away.
Buddy, put down the pen and step away.
It is fascinating, Cerberus. I've never read it. I'm just aware of the lore. And by the lore, I mean the author's.
Yeah, not the lore about the comic itself, the lore about its creation.
Yeah.
I David
That's
Sid.
the thing is
Sorry.
apparently it's really good until all that happens.
I mean, I believe it. It's been on my list to read for a long time, and like, look, I do not think that reading the work of shitty or problematic creators jeopardizes your soul. I do want to learn about it sometime, and because the guy also did a lot of work for making sure cartoonists could own their own work. Like that was a huge deal. That does not excuse any of the shit that he did, but as somebody who cares about the history of the medium, you kind of don't get to just ignore what happened. Uh, but I do know that I'm like eventually I'm going to have to get to that bit and like I don't know keep some Pepto Bismol by the desk for the rest of it.
I think as soon as the author starts giving unsolicited opinions on gender, you can just put it down and say, "Well, I like those early parts."
Well, I mean that would mean that you don't get to read any sci-fi before 1995, and even then you're going to have a slim list.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
even Larry Niven got in on that shit. Like that's still so funny to me. Are you a classic sci-fi guy or not? I forget.
I've tried. I'm not as much of a reader as I wish I were. I've been mostly reading picture books, and that is to say, Flash and Legions of Superheroes stuff.
I feel you. I used to be more of a reader, and I'm trying to reclaim it. So I'm digging through old like sci-fi novels I liked. I love a lot of '80s hard sci-fi because a lot of them will get into like how the engines work or like weird, interesting directions that this technology could take society in. Little less bombastic, drier approaches to the genre that I really enjoy. Larry Goddamn Niven. A lot of the genre can have a lot of like dudes who have strong opinions on like airplanes and are still very scared of women, and that will
Yeah.
show in their work as they get deeper and deeper into their career. And Niven did a series called Ringworld, where he thought he had interesting things to say, specifically about sex and sexuality. Because the core conceit for Ringworld is that every species on it, there's like hundreds and hundreds of sentient species living on this Dyson ring. Uh, but all of them are distant derivatives of Australopithecus. So they're all human enough to be fairly compatible. And so he writes this whole story where the leading diplomatic skill is being good at fucking. Uh, Keep in mind, this guy wrote the Man Kazin Wars and like was originally writing about like Pearson's puppeteers and stuff like that. A lot of his stuff is like hard military sci-fi or like end of history utopianism. And so his ability to write about sex and sexuality, or even like why people would want to fuck, is he struggles.
It reminds me a little bit of Gene Roddenberry, who was in many respects a very progressive man, in others a very conservative one, and his opinions on sex are yes, please.
Yeah. I mean, like, hey, look, there's nothing wrong with liking sex in your stories, but you do. I do feel like there is a reason that the Bad Sex Awards for literary mockery exists. Every so often, I see these going around of some new novel written by a very divorced-looking man getting an award for writing one of the most uncomfortable, weird scenes possible for the sex scene, and like these dudes getting super huffy about basically getting like made fun of for writing a bad porno scene. But I think that it provides a valuable insight for the medium as a whole to recognize like okay, you I think that the worst one I ever saw was a story about like a wine critic uh and they do I'm not actually sure I can tell this story on Twitch. I'm gonna not do that. It's rough out there.
Rest assured, those champagne flutes were put to very interesting uses.
It's God. There are some creative concepts out there. People are fascinating. People sure have ideas and write them.
As I like to say, there's so much in this world.
Yes, absolutely.
I gotta say, sometimes during my personal writing projects, I get afeared when I attempt to experiment with writing sensuality or romance or blah blah blah. Like, oh god, is this cringe? Is this embarrassing? Am I going to publish this and people are going to laugh and be like, this guy has never known love in his entire life. He doesn't know a thing of the human experience. And then I hear about those, bad sex scene awards.
Yeah.
And I remember the passage from 50 Shades of Grey about looking at looking at her like a gerbil about to devour its three-legged young. And I feel really
So I've never read this book. I only ever hear about it after the fact. That really snuck up on me.
It's all like that. It's insane.
Oh.
And one of the greatest moments of horror I felt in my actual life was I was driving in the car with my mom somewhere. We were talking about something. And I don't even remember how. This was before I was medicated, so every conversation is just off to the races. The second thought comes to my brain. But I got into how 50 Shades of Grey is stupid, and it's just a Twilight fanfic that had all the names changed and blah blah blah, and all the prose is bad and blah blah blah. Mom was like, "Oh, well, I read all of them and I liked them." And
Ooh.
it wasn't the fact that she disagreed with my critical analysis. It was the fact that I knew that Mom was reading, BDSM Twilight fanfic.
I get that.
I felt my madness meter fill up.
Yeah, the fair and reasonable. It's kind of funny. Every so often, I saw this whole video essay basically doing a critical after the fact analysis of like Twilight and 50 Shades, basically trying to sort of be like, yeah, there's a lot of this that's really embarrassing, but also the hate it got was disproportionate for like, if people like what they like, fine. And I agree with that criticism, but God, does it still feel so good to dunk on? It's so good. I got plenty of friends that are like kinksters or into BDSM or whatever. Like, you can be into what you're into, but like even they're sort of like, no, that shit's Looney Tunes.
It's kooky.
It,
I kind of respect. At this point, I respect how kooky it is.
yes.
And the fact that she got a bag for it.
Oh, absolutely. Right there with you. It's kind of funny. You mentioned being antsy about writing like sex, romance, and sensuality. My current project, Worst Girl, is one of the first things I think I've ever done with much of a focus on like the romance lives of the main characters. I generally sort of skirt around it because generally they have other shit going on. They're being chased by demons, or they're trying to solve a mystery, or blah 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 blah. In this new comic project, so much of the focus is on her like self actualizing and getting out of this rut. I realized part of that had to be like she wants somebody to support her. She wants like a partner. I have to actually get good at writing romance. I don't know. I had the same worries that you're talking about when I first started like realizing that would be a big part of the plot. Oh no, what if it's cringe? What if I stumble over this? I know that I've been married and with this woman for 17 years, but like what if I don't know the first goddamn thing about writing good romance?
Yeah.
You just have to accept like taking big swings. If you embarrass yourself, you embarrass yourself. I've done it up before enough times that it doesn't sting anymore. You know?
What's more embarrassing, I've come to realize at this point, is never trying and justifying it endlessly.
Yes,
If you
absolutely.
try and it's good, perfect. If you try and it's bad, well, you tried.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And not everyone can say that.
Hard agree. Oh, that actually reminds me. I should throw the link up. Worst Girl got added to the catalog for the cartooning co-op I'm in.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I'm really proud. I'm trying to get more involved with it in general. It's sort of like I guess the closest thing to a union for cartoonists I've ever seen anything get together. Like just folks like trading information and shit like that. Ah, it's on page 1. I didn't even notice.
Ooh, very nice.
Uh,
Congrats.
all right, I'm going to pin this in the Twitch chat just cuz I'm so excited.
That's the stuff.
And that's going to be manually unpinned at the end of stream. Hell yeah. Okay, thanks, boss. Yeah, I'm most of the way done with the script for the next issue too. So I'm very excited to crack back into that.
I need to at some point pick your brain about writing comic scripts because I'm working on some pitches.
Oh, I would love to help.
I'm not going to blow up my spot by saying the private information that I have. I'll tell you later.
All right, sounds like a
But
plan.
I might be in a position to get something published, and in addition to panicking and thinking I have no good ideas, I'm also just like, man, I've written film scripts, I've written prose. How do you do a comic script? I've just been poking away very, very slowly with some of my samples.
I would be absolutely delighted to help.
Nice. I've been part of the reason I've gotten back into comics so much lately is, well, I want to write them, and I figure you can't write a good one without knowing what a good one looks like, which is difficult because when you're reading big two superhero comics, there's not a lot of good ones.
One day I want to ace
That's fair.
Adults. But another reason I've been going through decades past because around the late 90s early 2000s when they got all decompressed and widescreen,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sick of that. It
Yeah.
feels like comics trying to imitate movies, and we've had enough of that.
Well, I mean,
want to get back to
Yeah.
like the cluttered compressed 70s stuff,
I do think I agree with you on that, like, especially because I do think that Marvel taking over the movie theaters sort of made people more commonly start treating comics like storyboards for the movie that they're going to release one day. which is a
Yes,
shame because that was already an issue before Marvel started moving in. Did you ever see Cowboys versus Aliens?
I did actually. I didn't read it, but I saw the movie.
So I saw that a while back too. It left my whole family wondering what the fuck they had just happened. I got to learn the deal with it later. Apparently, the creator had been trying to get funding for his film script for ages, so he made a quick and dirty comic. Like the art is not good, like capital N not good. Should sucked hard and fast. Um, and then gave it away for free at Comic Cons. Counted those free giveaways as sales, and then presented that to the studio, being like, "Look how many sales my comic gets." And that's kind of been the model ever since. We see that with like The Walking
Yeah.
Dead. We see it with like a lot of other indie comics where the craft is seen as a leg up to make a movie, which
It's almost a cheat code at this point.
yeah, I mean, like it's a Chico that's starting to wear off because they're a little more wise to it now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's adaptation bait, is what some of my colleagues call it.
that sounds pretty on the nose. Uh, but yeah, it's like it's a bit of a shame because people don't really. It's weird seeing carpetbaggers in your fields without also sounding like some kind of fucking gatekeeper. Like I don't. If
Yeah,
somebody wants
yeah.
to make a comic for whatever reason, go ahead and do it. But this one is a little lame.
It's very do it because you love the story and you want to share it. I
Exactly.
know that's easy for me to recommend. 9 to 5 job, not working in that very mercenary cutthroat industry.
Yes.
But I don't understand getting into comics if you don't love the medium and want to explore it to its fullest.
Yeah, especially because, let's face it, we do not have a lot of money in this field. There's a lot of people who act like rock stars. I've actually heard some very funny stories about publishers like going to someone's hotel party and doing all of their drugs and then leaving. And I'm sitting here going, like, all of their drugs, they're cartoonists. Well, like crushed up a couple of Adderalls and like half a
Yeah,
highball. What are you doing here?
few ibuprofen. Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, like this isn't really a field that you can get into for the clout because none of us fucking have any. Like the
Yeah, no.
one of the kings of comics, like Alan Moore, is basically mainly famous for getting ripped off and staying really angry about it, as well he should.
Yes, I every time Alan Moore gets a new interview, the headline is always Alan Moore says superheroes are for idiot babies.
And like, yeah,
And every time I think this man has made his position very clear. Ask him about his day, you know?
like I can only say harsh but fair.
Yeah.
It is wild out there, though.
Very much. Oh, I wanted to ask. I
Yeah.
guess I'm plugging a comic a little bit. Have you read or heard any buzz about Absolute Martian Manhunter?
So I've seen some clips around here and there. It feels very 80s experimental. Different from what I like about Martian Manhunter, but it's nice to see people getting like psychedelic with it. So I haven't actually read much of it, but everything that I've heard has been largely positive, followed by grumbling about wanting the original Martian Manhunter back.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that regular Martian Manhunter he doesn't sell. I love him, I adore him, but he is permanently a team character.
It's a
He
shame.
lives in the Justice League. Um, Absolute though, Absolute MM is a generational comic. It
Really?
feels very much like '80s Vertigo. Um, it there's only 5 issues out right now, but it is easily the best of the year. Um, Definitely top 5 of the last 10 years, and might be the best of like the century. It's that good.
Damn. Okay. Effusive praise. I am intrigued.
It's very very good. It makes me feel stupid how good it is because I'm like, well, how do I even describe how good it is? It's the premise is so you know how Martian Manhunter has the secret identity of John Jones.
Yep.
In this version, John Jones is a real guy. He's an FBI agent, and he is caught in an explosion that puts him in the hospital for a day.
Yeah.
When he wakes up, he is perfectly healthy and gets to go home. However, he starts seeing this funny little green man in his head, who keeps encouraging him to breathe in and listen, listen to the thoughts in the smoke. And it's revealed in the first issue that this Martian, he's not a Martian. He's not from space. He's something else.
He's from another
He explains
another dimension.
he's just something. He's something else, is all he says. And I don't want to get too much into it because I have a theory, but it would spoil some things in the latest issue. But as he explains to John, metaphor equals reality. Martian, closest approximation of what I am. So I honestly think he's a living concept, and that concept is empathy. Because
Interesting.
he's encouraging John Jones to breathe in. And when he does breathe in and inhales this alien smoke, he's able to, for the first time in his life, see other people as they are and approach them from their perspective and act more sympathetic and empathetic in all this. And that's all I'll say as to what it's about, because it's psychedelic, but it's not like all hippie. There's a lot of action, a lot of fun. It is about an FBI guy and an alien fighting bad guys at the end of the day. But its approach is just so unique and so interesting.
No, this sounds very cool. It actually also sounds a little bit like so I have a couple of buddies that research alien phenomena. I don't like I know a couple of folks who consider themselves like academic occultists. That sounds more dismissive than I mean it. They're studying the occult. I'm studying occultists. I think that they are very interesting people to know. I do not think that they are hitting on material facts about reality, but I think that they are sort of coming sideways at interesting facts about how people think. And like a lot of what you're describing sounds like a lot of like how people who consider themselves experiencers talk about aliens and shit like that. It sounds like they're drawing a lot of inspiration from like I don't know. I get really interested in what do you call it? Like I guess new wave like pseudo religion shit about orgone energy or like psychics or stuff like that. Not because I think it's real. I have to stipulate that like 5 or 6 times whenever I have these conversations. Because sometimes I say this to people and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got taken by aliens," and I'm like, that's really great. I am not the guy to talk to about it. Let me put you in touch with my associate. Uh,
No.
yeah. But like, I don't know. It's interesting that this kind of mythology around like psychic alien powers is so consistent, and part of that's just because like, cranks meet cranks and talk about it on the internet and get crankier. But I don't know. It's very what's the word I'm looking for here? There's a lot of meat on that bone for interesting sci-fi and fantasy, and it's nice to see Marvel and DC playing in that space.
Mhm. It's very interesting to read. I love the UFO stuff.
Yeah.
It gets sometimes a little too wooey woo for me, and that was one of the biggest disappointments in my adult life. Because as a kid, I thought aliens was all about hard facts and science, and these are literally guys coming from space, and the government is trying to hide them for our protection for some other reason. What is it? And then the more I looked into it, I'm like, wait, psychics and dimensions? Oh God, oh, this is witch stuff.
I mean, like mythologically, this makes a lot of sense for like how we think, though. Like, let's face it. It used to be there are fairies in the forest and stuff like that, and then we explored the forest, and now there couldn't be fairies in it anymore. So now all of the woogaboos have moved to space.
Yeah,
I think
it's a
that
very interesting reflection of like where the collective psyche is kind of at.
yeah,
Looking that arm of folklore, I guess.
yeah, and it's not like it's not interesting stuff. There's a wait, my favorite alien abduction story. Like this is one that I like. This is one I remember out of nowhere in the middle of the night and start laughing. I tell this one at parties too. Um, it's basically like the way that it essentially goes is like many of these stories. We start with a pilot, a test pilot of experimental aircraft for the U.S. Air Force. Type of guy, like you print these dudes off of a mold. Stupid high and tight haircut, shaped like a fucking fridge. Um, and one day, one of the experimental aircraft he's piloting goes missing mid-flight after reporting like some sort of like big glowing ball following it for a few miles or something like that. He reports it like moving erratically, in ways an aircraft shouldn't be able to, and then hovering next to him for a while. And he's like reporting all of this on the radio as he's running away from it, until finally it goes quiet. About a week later, They find him in a field showing signs that an aircraft crashed there, like a big skid mark in a big place where the fuel tank would have exploded, but none of the parts of the aircraft. And he's lying there, like heavily irradiated and bleary, but like
Jeez.
not like, but not overall unwell. They take him to a hospital and they start talking to the guy. And what he reports is that after they lost contact with him, he he appeared from his own craft on the alien spacecraft talking to two artichokes, big artichoke looking creatures with like a voice box around, like right under the artichoke bulb they used to talk human noises to him. And what the artichoke said is that they were there to like meet the local sentient species and like make it clear the galaxy is ready to welcome you. We're excited to meet you, and to prove that we mean you no harm, we cured the cancer that you didn't know you had. And then a couple weeks later, he dies of radiation poisoning. This is my
Oh,
this is my favorite one because like if it is true, then the conversation I think must have happened is that the artichokes are on their way back. Hey, what happened to that guy we picked up on Earth? He was nice. Let's check in on him. Oh, he died? What do you mean he died? We just gave him a standard treatment for cancer. Oh my god, they're carbon. Oh, radiation kills them.
we
Oh,
really messed this one up, bro.
we got to take
Really screwed the pooch on this one.
we got to take this planet off the list. I'm not going to jail. Oh my god, he was so nice too. Oh fuck.
Be cool. Be cool. No one has to know.
Shh, look at me. Look at me. Nobody's coming to this planet.
That's really good.
Yeah. They are in fact just like us.
That is, I do love that idea that, if aliens are visiting Earth. Okay, I don't love the idea because when aliens visit Earth, theoretically, I want them to be Vulcans or like 510 Andorian smoke shows, where like, oh yeah, hey, we got rid of all the nuclear weapons and we're here to usher in a new era of peace. Star Trek was real. More likely, they're going to be like the Predator, just like a rich alien dentist who comes here on vacation. Or they're dipshits, who are
I
just
mean,
messing around in the wilderness.
statistically, they're probably crabs. So I feel like we're in the clear if we start. We've already got really good oyster farms. I say we just double down on that and we're great.
Okay, yeah. Works for me. Crab aliens.
I mean, like, carcination's a thing. The two most common forms that, like, a species can take. The three most common forms a species can take is a crab, a spider, or a weasel. So I figure we prep them for being those three things, and we're set.
God, I hope they're weasels.
That'd be great. Weasels are adorable.
Yeah. I just don't want them to be spiders. Crabs I could probably deal with.
See, I think the bugs are cute, so I'm not your ally on this one, I'm afraid. What if it?
Could have an intellectual relationship with an alien spider, but I'd be like, hey, please turn your webcam off. I'm shy. Hint at my arachnophobia.
I mean, what if it's all of them at once? What if they are like absolute alien spider smoke shows that are all smoke shows, Star Wars reference. Smoke shows that are also alien dentists that come here on vacation. It could just be the whole nine
We're in
yards.
for one hell of a summer, if that's the case. I think we're in for a great time.
I don't know. I really love like a good first contact story. So I'm kind of hoping that I just hope that they like movies.
Yeah. Oh god, I would so love to show a movie to an alien.
Yeah, I would love to sit down with be like, okay, so this is a sort of traditional film for our species that's part of like a lot of our winter rituals. It's called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now you'll note that the elf wants to be a dentist even though they are not typically dentists. Does that do anything for you? Yes, no? Sorry, just quick predator check. It all comes back, baby.
You haven't seen Silence of the Lambs? Oh my god, it's so good though. Where have you been?
Oh, I want to see
Oh,
it.
Andromeda Galaxy?
I want to see an absolutely incomprehensible alien rom-com. Like halfway through, she eats his head, and like there's still like 2 hours of movie left.
What happens?
I don't know. It's
Watching. This part's the best part.
I am so excited. Statistically, there's got to be something out there. Weren't they saying that like somebody was saying that they found some sort of signal that they think could be a sign of something out there, like an actual radio signal or something like that? Big grain of
I feel
salt.
like I feel like I hear that kind of thing all the time, and it never amounts to anything.
True.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's I think silly to believe that there isn't intelligent life somewhere out in space. The notion that they've come to Earth is unlikely, but then again, the
Clownish.
government's so weird about so many things that we think might be aliens that something hinky's going on.
Yeah. I mean, like,
That
what you
anything might just be the CIA messing around with money, but
Well, one of my favorite examples of that is actually from it's also another alien story. You watch a lot of Behind the Bastards or not?
I've actually never listened to them.
Oh, I cannot recommend it more highly. It's a fucking downer, but if you're built for a downer, it's great. Um, there's one of their episodes that I actually think like it's all declassified. This definitely happened. This like World War II vet that had a home like radio setup started detecting weird coded transmissions from the local like Air Force base for experimental aircraft again, because that's usually what it is with these stories. And he thought it was aliens, and like this guy was a World War II vet, he was still very patriotic. He reached out to his government to try to help. And the thing is, they were actually doing some like testing of like basically expanding on nuclear bomb tech. And when, oh shit, this guy should not actually have this information. This could be really, really bad for us. And so when they saw that he thought he was aliens, they doubled down on convincing him. Like right down to like getting him a special computer that they sent him like alien messages on, basically to keep him busy and make sure that he wouldn't find anything important. It's super fucked because it melted this guy's brain, but like,
Yeah, that's like long legs was happening to that man.
yeah. Oh man, God, I wish Long Legs was good. I love like I've come around to really enjoying Nick Cage and fucking anything, but I wanted Long Legs to be good so bad.
It hurts because I love the aesthetic. I love
Yeah.
everything around the fringes, the like weird hints of maybe this is all a government thing. You know, maybe it's really supernatural. Um, the 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 premise is great, but it's so predictable at the end of the day. And I've read a lot of great writing on it where people read into it quite a bit and extract a lot of meaning. And anytime I revisit it, I'll watch scenes I haven't the heart to do a full rewatch yet.
See,
I just don't see any of it there. You know,
predictable is not the word I would have used here. I did not predict that he would start delivering man-sized dolls to people's houses and the devil would be in a big marble in their head. That one came at me like from left field. The mom turning out to be in on the villainy also kind of threw me.
it it threw me at first. I thought about it for a second, and I grew very disappointed in the theater because, well, of course it has to be her. There's no one else in the movie.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
There's like three characters.
It's the Princess Leia effect. Oh my god, you have a sister. Who could it be? Well, it's the only woman in the movie, so you're so
It was
right.
actually
Mon Mothma.
Barda over here. She was just off screen. Yeah, I really wanted to love it. I mean, I made a whole video about it, so you know my thoughts.
Yeah.
Um,
Good vid,
but
by the way.
when I say predictable, oh, thank you. When I say predictable, I mean more like it indulges in a lot of prestige horror stuff, and I know that's a loaded term, but in the opening scene when she's going out on that raid, and they're not a raid, but you know they're looking for a suspect, and they're just knocking on doors. The guy knocks on the door, he turns to her, he says, "Don't worry, it's probably nothing." And
Oh.
they show, uh, they use a particular angle of him looking at her, and it's like slightly cockeyed, slightly distorted. And the second I thought, oh, he's gonna get headshot, and
Yep.
then bang, he gets shot in the head. I'm like, oh, okay, because that's the most quote unquote shocking thing they could do in that moment, which for me made it predictable. I guess to all the little like shocking things they were gonna do, like when Nick Cage started banging his head against the table.
No, I think I agree with that.
Movies this year that did that.
It's very paint by numbers in terms of what the scares actually are. Honestly, like It's funny because there's another movie I can think of that does that with Nicolas Cage that I unironically adore. I'm not sure that I'd say that it's good, but I'd say that like it's playing in a space that I enjoy. Willy's Wonderland. Did you ever?
Watch that.
Oh, yeah, I find it interesting because Cage basically plays a horror movie monster that only stalks other horror movie monsters.
Yeah.
And so it creates an ecosystem of local teenage victims, the actual monster that would normally be stalking them, and this sort of out of ecosystem larger predator that's stalking the local horror movie monsters. I do not think this was done on purpose. I think that this was the result of them trying to sell Nicolas Cage as a badass action hero with like a very slightly video game vibe. Because originally the movie was supposed to have like the Five Nights at Freddy's license, and they I don't know how they goofed it up, but they did. But the result is I don't know. I love bad decisions that people commit to. Like that movie is not good by any stretch of the imagination, but I will not say that I found myself unenthused by whatever was about to happen next.
I need to check that out at some point. I never got around to seeing that. I thought
Don't
it was very funny
yes.
that let's just say I thought it was very funny that it popped up when they were still working on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, that's such an easy layup. Like millions of children want to see that. Just get it out. It doesn't even have to be good.
Yeah, did they really get Matthew Illard in that shit too? In the actual Five Nights movie?
They did, and I thank them for it because the longer his line at Monster Palooza is, the shorter everyone else's is, so I can get my autographs faster.
I feel that. Feeling a little lost on the color scheme for this middle guy. I wanted to do a theme where like one's red, one's blue, and one's green because that's kind of a thing in the mechanics of the game. But it's hard to do entirely cool colors if I'm also trying to do like Versailles fashion. What am I missing here? Maybe an accent.
Maybe are you dedicated to keeping his pants that light purple?
I'm really not.
I was going to suggest maybe making those go a little more in the baby blue direction of the coat.
Oh, I think you're onto something there. One sec. Better, certainly. Like they're supposed to be tights.
Yeah.
But why don't I just crank that up?
Turned out really good, by the way. I love the flow.
Thank you. I'm very pleased with it. I think the perspective is doing a lot of good here. Fun fact: the editor completely fujoed out over these two characters zoomed in right here. So I really want to deliver on like how these two look. I might try to like treat this as the default party for like the rest of the illustrations for the third Cyber Rats book. I got a plague rat. I got a swarmer. I got a regular unmutated human. We're set.
Nice.
Maybe throw in one mutation from the previous books if I need a fourth character.
It's giving a bit of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which I always appreciate.
Excellent. I hope that that continues through because it's a giant robot game, and getting those vibes in a giant robot game feels like it's going to hit pretty hard.
Nice. There's a niche there.
There absolutely is. Giant robots and vampires and mechs. Can't go wrong. More of a yellow.
Orange. Every year I tell myself, this is the year I'm going to watch Bram Stoker's Dracula all the way through and enjoy it. And it never happens.
Now, which version of the movie is that? Was that the one where oh god. The one with I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. He's in goddamn everything these days. Played Johnny Silverhands in Cyberpunk 2020.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one with Keanu.
That's the one with Keanu?
Traveled to Budapest on a train most speedily. I feel bad for him.
Jonathan Harker's excellent adventure.
Yeah. It's probably the closest we'll ever get to a JoJo movie.
Ooh,
Part one JoJo.
ooh, You're right. I kind of am tempted to. I saw it once for like a lit class way back in the day. Um, but like I was 16 and a moron, and my brain wasn't fully cooking. So I'm wondering if I might get more out of it as an adult.
I try every year, like I said, around Halloween. I'm like, I love Dracula, and I love the costumes, and I love the effects, and I love the cinematography, the lighting, and everything in that movie, except for the acting. Maybe this
Mm,
time I'll like the acting. And then there's Keanu's whole thing. There's Anthony Hopkins' whole thing is awful. I
oof.
know people say his Van Helsing is the best. He just seems a little drunk the whole time.
I
I
mean,
don't know if he comedy. I don't know what's going on.
that's not a bad vibe for Bram Stoker, for Van Helsing. Like the original book definitely was trying to play more with like science will conquer the primitive superstitions of other lands. But like
Yeah,
if you really read it, he's still doing yeah. There's ghosts in your blood. Let's do cocaine about it.
yeah.
Style shit. So he kind of works as like Doctor Uncle Wolverine, but
I For a performance that trends in that direction, I really preferred Willem Dafoe in the new Nosferatu. I
that's
think he got
true.
that across where he comes across very learned and erudite, and the more you listen to him, you're like, oh, this guy's insane.
Yeah. Oh, he was so good in that. He's so clearly having a good time too.
Yeah, I think the first picture they shared from the production was him holding the lantern in the flaming tomb as thousands of rats swarm around him. I
Beautiful.
was like, oh, I know I'm in good hands. There we go.
You can never have a bad time with a happy William Defoe.
Yeah. He did you hear Robert Eggers? Not his next film, but the one after is going to be A Christmas Carol.
Ooh. Wait, who are they going to get to play Kermit the Frog?
Great question. I can't think of a funny actor to suggest for a frog, so I'm gonna decline to answer that.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
It's okay; they can't all be winners. I am just hoping against hope that Willem Dafoe does end up being Scrooge, because that would be perfect.
That would be superb. Well, I mean, like, I would respect but fear him as Tiny Tim. So, like,
That'd be great.
that would be like I love ambition. I love big swings in the casting office.
For the longest time, I wanted to make my version of A Christmas Carol.
Oh,
Um, okay, this is going to be a very high concept story, so just bear with me. Do you remember movies like Van Helsing and The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
very fondly, as a matter of fact. They're not good, but I did enjoy them.
I agree completely. As I mentioned earlier, these got the dad bump because I saw them with my dad. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the best movie ever made. And
Absolutely.
I watched it again, and these days it's a girlfriend takes a nap movie. But I like them. I really love that brief moment in Hollywood where they would throw so much money and such elaborate costuming and prop making, and just like they'd make the hell out of those movies in service of something that was so obviously doomed from the start.
Yeah.
And I want to do an affectionate pastiche of those. And my version
Ooh.
is it's 1885, London. A killer is stalking the East End. No one knows how to catch Jack the Ripper. So they bring in the one man with the skills and the know how and the attitude to do it. And his name is Ebenezer Scrooge.
Curdles, your brain is fucking huge.
It would be a joke only for me because Christmas is never mentioned in the entire film. It's alluded to as like the case that got him to where he is today. We would have like a moment where someone's like, and just where do you get off, Scrooge, with your high and mighty attitude and your certainty that you're the only man to catch this madman? And Scrooge turns towards the windows like, long ago, Governor, I saw the face of darkness and was changed. And we hear like a slight hint of sleigh bells on the score.
See, my first thought was that have you played Disco Elysium or no?
No, I need to.
Oh, dude, if you stream that, I'm showing up every fucking day. I love that game. I especially love watching people play it for the first time. It's just a fascinating experience. There's a thing in the game where your main character is a detective who's able to like talk to like extra little skills in his head. Like all of your skills are another personality that pipes up in the middle of your conversations. And I'm basically picturing Scrooge talking to the three ghosts like that, but like none of them are mentioning Christmas. They're just mentioning time, but all the things that they show, like they can only show him things on a specific date, and it's only in the winter.
He has perfect recall when he talks to the ghost of Christmas past. He can see who the next victim's going to be when he talks to the ghost of Christmas future.
Yeah, or like he can see what's going to be happening in their house next Christmas.
Yeah, yeah.
So you better like he tries it with somebody and it's like, oh, they're not home. Fuck.
Then he walks away and he has the detective realization.
Yeah.
Oh God, nothing's happening next Christmas. She's the next one.
They're like gloating and menacing at him throughout the entire thing. It's like, you're really gonna solve this one? You can't rely on us to solve your problems forever, Scrooge.
I just need to do this one. Just this one to redeem my blighted soul.
Yeah,
That
the
I already redeemed one years ago.
Christmas future is like, just remember, time is running out. I love this. Dude, this is fantastic.
The other big connection to A Christmas Carol that I want to include is we would
Frog.
do a thing where Scrooge periodically refers to an assistant he has, or like an old colleague that he periodically calls on to help him. And someone's like, surely now you'll call your old colleague to help us with this investigation. No, no, it's not time yet. He's when the situation's truly gone bad, then you'll know when we need him. Um, and we have him. There's no phones in 1885. He sends him telegrams or letters or something. He receives telegrams or letters from him. And then just before the climax, we see Scrooge. He's going to. I mean, it's got to be Big Ben, right? Where he confronts Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, of course.
He's walking up and he
The
looks
only
up at
building
the
in
clock
London.
hand. Yeah, the only one. Looks up at the clock hands and we see like Jack's cloak fluttering like Batman. Scrooge narrows his eyes and he looks. He's like, "You there, boy? I need you to send this message to this address." Like, oh, golly, sir, I'll do it right quick. And then he goes up. And as he's fighting Jack the Ripper, we intercut the fight as Scrooge is getting knocked down. He's like blocking the knife with his cane and stuff. He's clearly about to lose. We intercut a pair of boots, right? Bolting up the stairs, faster and faster and closer and closer until finally Jack the Ripper looks like he's about to claim, victory. He's like, "This is the end of the lawn for you, Ebenezer." Pulls back his knife, and then the door bursts open. And I want, like, do you remember the guy who played Jaws in the old James Bond movies?
Yes, but before we move on from that, I did want to compliment the like really daring directorial choice to have Jack the Ripper and Scrooge have similar voices. Are they related? Is that the twist? Is Jack the Ripper a relative of Ebenezer Scrooge?
We're still exploring that. I'm not quite sure. I think it could be. I mean, God, what if it's?
I do like
Fred,
I-
not insane.
I do like Jack Scrooge.
Jack Scrooge. Jack. Oh, it's my nephew, Jack Scrooge.
But that
nephew, that is.
but yes, the actor that plays Jaws.
Yeah. So I want a guy like that, just a huge dude, bust through the door. We do a crash zoom. Jack the Ripper turns around. Bloody hell, who are you? And Scrooge says, "That's my apprentice, one gigantic Tim." And he clocks her upside the head. Tim Jackson, right?
Actually, quite big ass Tim.
Yeah, he's huge.
I heard Tiny Tim is jacked. I hear he's fucking shredded.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. This is incredible. You like, where do we get this made? Like, do you want to run a Kickstarter or?
We should. I need to flesh it out a bit.
Beautiful.
Because I just have those scenes mostly figured out, and I have the post credits figured out, which is Scrooge at the end of the day. He's reading a newspaper. It's like Jack the Ripper to hang or whatever. his arms in a sling. He's like, oh, another job well done. And he's in his pajamas, you know. He's got a little candle on a plate. He's about to retire to bed, and you hear big knock at the door. He turns. Another. He pulls out like a pistol from his sling. No, you come in here. I'm armed. I don't want you. And the door busts open, and snow flows in. And we see another pair of boots walking in. We hear bells jingling. You can't do this to me. I'm out of the game. And we pan up, and it's Santa Claus. He says, Ebenezer, you're the only man who can help me. And we cut to black. And we never make the sequel.
Cruel. Cruel. Oh my god, I love it. Give it a fucking Panty and Stocking season 1 ending? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw
My
that
dream
ending.
is to.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But my dream is I want to tease a whole dark universe that'll never get made.
I adore it. The only thing that I was wondering, like when you brought in Santa Claus at the end, I had convinced myself, dead certain, it was going to be Herschel flanked by the Hanukkah goblins. Just to make the twist a little bit further. No?
We could. We certainly could. I mean, I like the idea of a Christmas Avengers.
Yes.
Part of the meta joke for me is like, okay, we make this whole big elaborate blockbuster movie, and it's almost like Freddy Got Fingered, where the joke it's not funny until you realize, oh, they spent all this money making this crap, and then it's hilarious.
I approve so much. I really want this to exist.
Maybe that'll be my comic.
Oh, you'd rock that shit. That would be excellent.
Figure out how to draw.
I've got great news. A lot of comics can get away without anyone in the process knowing how to draw at all. That's not me shitting on my contemporaries. That's just the fact that, like, a good script can carry bad ink work a lot better than bad ink work can carry a good script.
That's true. I would just feel like, well, my main obstacle towards making a comic, other than the fact I can't draw, is I can't pay an artist what they're worth right now. So I would have to raise money
Of course.
or something. So then I thought, well, what if I just write a book and then I make, I bait that into getting adapted into a comic, and then that becomes the movie, and then I'm falling into the trap of just writing for the thing you really want to make.
Well, yeah, but, like, it's nice to see it happen to literature instead of us for a change, so I approve.
Yeah.
I wonder what my dream film would be. I used to, like, have a couple of ideas about wanting to make horror movies, but nothing ever quite fully stuck. Nowadays, I think that most of them would make better comics anyway.
It's the fun thing about a comic is you can do so much more, and there's a budget, of course, if you're not trying to do it professionally, but there's no sequence you have to cut because it's impractical to film.
Eh, you sometimes do. Like, the pages still take time. The first, like, right now, the script for the second issue of Worst Girl is like 30 pages, and like 20 of them are like elaborate fight scenes. So clearly, I need to cut back on something.
Might need to be trimmed.
A smidge. Sometimes you just get lost in the sauce. But you can still get some good stuff out of that. Like, you can save your darlings for like an expanded version one day. Actually, one thing that I've wanted to film for a hot minute, ever since I found out how easy it is to tear apart a Cybertruck, what I've really wanted to do, and like, this is a fantasy that I know is not getting acted on. Even if somebody like wants to get rid of their Cybertruck, they're not giving it to me to fuck up. But if that could happen, what I want to do is get a bunch of my friends together, have them dress like... So much about the design sensibility of the Cybertruck seems to be that the main purpose of a car is not to go anywhere or do anything. It's to be resistant to the hordes of people that want to kick your ass, which I think is telling about the target market.
Yes.
So what I want to do is dress my friends up as a cannibal apocalyptic horde and film a how-to video on just cracking that thing open with a few dummies inside that are full of deli meat.
That's really good. Like Mad Max guys.
Yeah, like Mad Max Wastelanders. And be like, and remember, solidarity. If anybody in your horde is vegan, make sure to trade with the people with the next horde down the way. Inedible components can be used for bone meal, livestock feed, or it can be used recreationally for the kids. Throw like a floppy fake liver to a child cannibal.
Door panels can be repurposed as makeshift shields. However, these are of poorer quality than other
Yeah.
automobiles you made.
Now, you will note that this is made of stainless steel, which means it is great for cooking if you keep birds.
There are too many Cybertrucks in my neck of the woods.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Today now. It drives me insane.
I've only started seeing any of them in my burg recently, and it's very upsetting. Standing next to them is like standing next to a fucking horse. You don't really appreciate how big these eyesores are until there's one parked on your block, like in someone's driveway, taking up half the fucking scene.
I was in the drive-through behind one, and it never occurred to me just how big they were until I stopped behind one, and I realized, oh, if he backed up right now, the rear edge of the Cybertruck is the exact correct height to like impale my eyes.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely clownish behavior. This is petty, but like I go out for drinks with my buddies in Midtown every so often, and like every so often we will see a Cybertruck. I have taken to like pointing and laughing when I see one. One of these days somebody's gonna pull over and like I'm gonna have to see if I know how to fight. But like until then, I don't know. You feel like you're doing your part.
I'm confident you'd win that fight.
I appreciate your faith in me. I'm not actually, I have this mental image of myself locked in college of being a scrawny art boy, but no, you're right. I've done like a few jobs that could kill people since then. I'm not little anymore.
Yeah. Plus, you have numbers on your side. Have you ever noticed that you never see more than one person in a Cybertruck?
This is true. There's never somebody in the passenger seat. How's this looking? All right, let me find some good pictures of Versailles dresses. The frustrating thing about trying to do a scene that's based on like the court of the Sun King in like old timey France is that there's a lot of people doing like what they reckon it looked like and not like authentic attire.
Mhm.
Another behind the Bastards dive that did a lot of good for me was the one on Versailles, just because I did not realize that it was deliberately kept partying all the time to drive the nobles insane. And that's the funniest fucking thing I've ever thought about happening in history.
Really?
Yeah, apparently the whole thing is that the king had like a traumatic experience when he was 12, when like the nobles were like having an uprising and broke into his bedroom, and his mother had to tell him to like pretend to be asleep. And like when he grew up, he's like, I'm making sure that none of these guys ever have the free time for that shit again. So he builds up this great big palace in like the new capital, tells almost all the nobility to move there, and constantly throws parties so they never have time to build up a power base. He invented a surveillance state exclusively for the rich.
That sounds like it would be an Edgar Allan Poe story.
It kind of was. Like there's a reason this led up to the public deciding, we're executing all of these fucking guys. Like we're rinsing the whole thing out and starting over, like changing the oil on a Chevrolet.
It's nonsense.
Yeah. But it's fascinating reading stories about it because they would have to go partying and dancing for weeks on end, and they'd have to get new outfits to go with it, and like paying to get new outfits done. You couldn't wear the thing that you wore last month to the king's party. He's the king. And so they'd have to borrow money from the king to redo their wardrobe, putting them in more debt and like putting the king more in control of them. Like it was basically torture. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, that's something Vincent Price would be doing in like a 1957 horror movie.
Yeah, that's some Twilight Zone shit. Oh, you want to fuck around? Okay. It's now a fucking around based government. Come on, aren't we here to party?
Say, there are a lot of things about the current moment I don't enjoy, but on the whole, I'm really glad I live now and not any time in the past.
Hard agree. I, I think that these times will pass. I do not think I could have lived in a time period that did not have the internet. I I am grateful to live in the time period that I was born in.
At least nobody's making us buy new clothes every day to impress some fancy boy on a big chair, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Although, admittedly, like fucking King Louis the Sun King, lot in common with Trump, down to the fact that like when he got surgery for like and like had to wear a bandage to some parties, people started wearing the same bandage to go with like just to match him because he's the king.
God.
Yeah, this type of guy has always been like this. Horrifying, right?
Yeah, that's so wild. Well, um, I hope something similar happens.
Hard agree. I hope for historical consistency.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Twitch mods, this is educational content. Another example of good dress.
They
They
made
do
me
it.
say it.
What? All these dresses were white. I don't think I can get away with that. Maybe like a. I don't know. There's some color. Oh, I know how to do this. No, a big part of the fun of this was also like looking up good reference of like bugs to use as aliens. I tried to make them like as realistically insect-like as possible, and it's also treated me to some really delightful stories about people talking about their pet praying mantises that I did not know could like you could discern anything about from interacting with.
Hmm.
So that's been cute as hell.
Yeah, my girlfriend keeps a lot of bugs. She's always
Really?
talking about their quirks. Yeah. Um, I say a lot, and you might think she has like a room with them, but she has a few that she keeps in, various little terrariums and such. Um, and mantises, she says they're very cat-like. They have big personalities. A lot of time, they can be very fussy,
I could see that.
which I believe. Um,
Also, let's face it, keeping any plural number of bugs is kind of a lot of bugs for like any amount of pet keeping.
that's true. Yeah. She keeps isopods as well. It's always telling me about their adventures.
Oh, little pill bugs.
Hilarious to me. It's very cute, and it's also she's like, see that one? That's this one. She doesn't have names for it, but she's like, oh, that's she has like little nicknames. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, that's great. And I'm thinking, I can't tell any of these apart.
No, that's sweet though. Like you can get familiar with any animal. I get it. I had a buddy that actually kept these like I don't remember what they're called, but they're a type of beetle with an extra high iron content in their shell, which means they are one of the few insects that can survive a whole human being stepping on them. But they're too heavy to do the thing where they like crawl up walls and stuff like that. And they were always telling me like, oh yeah, this one's got a big personality, and this one is like keeps wanting to molt but can't do it, or like something like that. And all I can tell is, yeah, that one's a little round blob, and that one's a little round blob, and that one's also a little round blob. They're very
That
cute.
one has a brown spot.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can get this
She has
dress.
frogs as well, which are a little easier to anthropomorphize, and for me at least.
Dating the Beastmaster?
What?
Dating the Beastmaster? Like, there's a lot of pets.
Oh, yeah. A little bit, yeah. We've got let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5 frogs, handful of bugs, 2 cats, more chickens than I can count, a few dogs. Yeah, I am dating Beastmaster.
Oh, that rules. I had a
I haven't
buddy.
watched it yet.
The original TV show seemed like it was meant to be a competitor to Hercules at the time. Shame, we could have had a better future. But where was I? Right, I had a buddy who people would bring sick animals to all the time, and her house ended up just swamped in with the weirdest creatures that you could expect somebody to have.
Mhm.
I remember for a little bit she had like three rescue pigeons, a jackdaw. Uh, let's see, there was a caterpillar that she originally bought as food for the lizard, but the lizard died before it ate the caterpillar. So the caterpillar metamorphed into like a little moth thing, and the tank just became the moth tank, and then it was full of moths. Two cats, a toddler who got along disturbingly well with that jackdaw. Uh, like I don't know, you never want a 3 year old to be able to sick a flying knife on your face, but you'd be able to point and be like, get, and it would fly over and like snatch a French fry out of your hand or something like that. Good fucking trick. That's a happy child.
Yes, I'm sure.
Uh, Actually, it's funny that we're talking animals. Earlier today, a pigeon made a few weeks ago. A pigeon made a nest on my buddy's balcony, and the first of her eggs hatched today. And everyone's decided that it's a good omen and good luck, and apply to any jobs that you're going for right now because you've got pigeon luck.
Mm,
Cute, right?
but I can get behind that. Yeah, pigeon luck.
Literal free
I
bird.
have to go get a lottery ticket because that's the kind of dope I am. But
I love a little gambling. I am not above a little gotcha.
my girlfriend and I found a gotcha store at a mall.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Um, it wasn't fun swiping the card and getting a notification that like you've spent $15 here. It's like, oh, cool. Two pulls, cool.
Oh.
But in two pulls, I got what I wanted, which was two Sprite keychains that are little tiny replicas of a six-pack of Sprite. So that's in my car keys now.
Oh, that's fun. I know that there's one of those in my neighborhood. I've actually gotten fucking. This feels like very corny. I've gotten obsessed with one of the fucking gumball machines at my local grocery store that just has little squishy animals and pods in it. Because one of them's a snail, and I want it so bad, and I keep getting everything except the snail. Like
You
I
guys
have.
are going to put that. You're keeping that store in business.
Oh yeah,
Gumball machine.
absolutely. And I'm willing. Yeah, I'm happy to do it. Like it is at least more dignified than Uma Musume.
Yeah. I keep seeing Uma Musume stuff on my feed, and the gotcha game thing is just not for me. So I don't want to speak from a place of judgment, but here we go. Guys, it's gambling. You're literally going to the horse races.
You're literally doing that, yes. And they're named after like real horses. It's literally just, oh man, there's a new crop of suckers that doesn't want to watch the horses. They want anime girls. We can make anime girls. I'm
It's
I,
it's so easy. It's so simple, rather. I respect it.
I'm right there with you about most gotcha games. The only one that I indulge even a little bit is like cosmetic boxes in MMORPGs, like PSO2 and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I I see this shit though, and I just go like, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way for you to get your anime girl JPEGs. I There's a post that I saw floating around a while back that sort of explained my feelings on the matter perfectly, which was like, anime girls are so ubiquitous. I don't see why they would be worth money. Like economically, they should be considered a type of grain.
I think I've seen that too.
Yeah, and absolutely correct. They are right. Hmm, how's this dress looking? Oh, I think I know how I can do this. Would you
Luke,
perf?
informed you of.
Sorry,
Oh,
good.
sorry, you go.
No. You go for it.
Uh, I was going to ask if I had informed you of my movie collection project.
Oh, tell me more.
Okay, so I have a habit of buying movies, of blind buying movies. that I've never seen, but think, that sounds neat, or I've always meant to watch that. I'll get the 4K, it's half off.
Yeah.
And at some point, I discovered the allure of the Blu ray box set.
Ooh.
Did you know you can get all 25 Zatoichi movies in the Criterion Collection box set? And it'll only run you about $70 on a good day.
That's not bad, admittedly. I was gonna make a joke about how much meth you can make with that, you could buy with that money, but like, no, it turns out you're keeping it in budget.
Well, the high lasts about the same amount of time,
Hmm.
and you won't die from watching Zatoichi movies, at least not these days. So,
Fair.
long story short, over the course of my movie buying career, I have amassed a collection of, let's check my list, 705 individual titles.
Excellent.
Um, and I have, as of yesterday, seen 361 of them. So we are at 51% and counting. At some point this year, I thought, this can't continue. Or if it does, I at least need to be watching these. I need to get above the number I'm at.
Yeah.
So I crunched the numbers, and to get to a scene rate of 70%, which I think is a good goal, I need to watch another 131 movies from this collection for the rest of the year. And
Oof.
there are 156 days left in the year.
Hmm.
So when you think about it, I can take December off if I just do one a day.
Okay, now mandatory question. It's from the Criterion Closet, so it's curated and whatnot. How many of these do you expect to like?
Well, that's the thing, is that while I do have a number of Criterion titles, the vast majority of what I buy comes from Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow Video, and Severin Films.
Ooh.
So,
Ooh,
the
that's
vast majority are not what you would traditionally call good.
you're really making yourself smoke the whole pack, huh?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I respect it.
I have hit a hot streak lately.
Oh.
And I don't know if it might just be like the shotgun approach. I bought everything, so there's a little bit of everything in there, and I'm just getting lucky. Or maybe I have some secret technique of picking things that turn out to be good.
All right.
But most of what I've been watching lately has been pretty good. As I mentioned, The Rage Carry 2 was good. What the heck else did I watch?
Wait, now you told me it existed. You did not tell me it was good. That was actually good?
It was good. Now it's one of those things where you watch it and you think, this is pretty well directed. This is attractively lit. The effects are pretty good. It's got sort of a socially conscious story that you wouldn't expect from The Rage Carry 2. It's surprisingly relevant today, which is sad because it's about like rape culture and stuff. But there were some very good highs in that movie, some very good moments, and the ending is great.
Interesting.
I give it a recommend. Now, I don't know if it's because, okay, was it always good? Or have I become so irritated by what modern day genre movies are like that it's good in contrast? That I can't quite say.
Interesting.
But there is a level of craft and practicality in this movie that you don't see in similar things made today. And that's what I appreciate about it.
It's interesting. There's another movie I saw recently that had that same effect. The Beetlejuice sequel. Like,
Yes.
so many movies are just like, did you like that last one? Here's some more of it. And normally I would criticize that to hell and back. But since so few movies are like Beetlejuice now, it's got this whole, like, it was just so refreshing to see, like, casting ourselves back to the 80s and doing, like, a lightly gruesome, oddball, dark horror comedy.
I was really surprised with how much I liked Beetlejuice 2.
Yeah.
I loved how many puppets there were, wacky costumes, gel lighting. Just like, it felt for the first time in like 30 years or something that Tim Burton gave a crap about the movie he was making.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. And like, God, it could have been so ass. I have so little faith in nostalgia. If they try to treat Ghostbusters like it's like a high-end prestige movie one more goddamn time, I'm gonna vomit. It could have been so bad, and it just didn't happen. They even handled the like actor who turned out to be a pedophile well.
Yeah,
Lop his fucking head off. Keep.
Attempt.
Yeah.
They didn't even try to get a guy who sounded like him. It was great.
Yeah. Like, no, you are replaceable.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
I loved. I think my favorite little subtle joke in that movie is there were a few times it seemed like they were making fun of the idea of doing a Beetlejuice 2. Um, to its slight detriment, I think Jenna Ortega's whole role in the movie is just there so they could have enough footage to make people think it was going to be like a Stranger Things season about Beetlejuice.
I see.
She doesn't get a lot to do, but things like, okay, so everybody thought, oh, they're going to do Deo again, and they do, but it's at the funeral, and it's a children's choir doing a slow, sad rendition of Deo, and it's like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Just boom, done.
It's a little goof.
Do Beetlejuice's backstory, and okay, they do, but for no reason. It's in subtitled Italian, and it's filmed like a Hammer Films flashback.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really tell you anything about him. Little things like that, I thought, really, really helped. And you can just tell Tim Burton and everyone involved was having fun, which was nice.
I don't think I thought of those bits in terms of like spoofs on the idea of doing those things, but like looking back on it now, I absolutely agree. No, that absolutely rules. I should watch that again.
I did see they were threatening to make a Beetlejuice 3, and I'm like, please don't. He's old. It's a miracle that we have two good ones.
I'm with you on that. I'm willing to hear them out. They mentioned not fuck up the second. I feel like that earns you some good faith.
If they do, I want it to be totally different. I want it to be just like, I don't know, Beetlejuice is stuck on a train, or like Lydia has to go to the DMV. Just something totally oddball and not more of what we already did.
No, I'm with you on that. Also, like, there was another take on that. I see so many fandom takes on adult Lydia being some kind of goth badass, and I did like that they went with the angle, no, she's traumatized. What are you... what are you talking about? That was awful.
Yeah. I love that there was no nostalgia on her part for it.
Yeah.
Whereas Beetlejuice in the years since has sort of made it like his whole reason for sticking around.
Yeah.
But also, I love that there was no grand reintroduction to Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Right? There was no like ominous. There was no Captain Kirk moment where he steps out in smoke and silhouette.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, what's he been up to? Oh, he started a small business.
There's this element of like, so I was bitching about Ghostbusters before. All of these like nostalgia remakes these days treat the characters as fans of the original movie. And I think that part of the reason Beetlejuice 2 lands so well is that they do not even lightly attempt to do that. Like, no, Lydia is not a fan of the original Beetlejuice story. It is the thing that she tells her therapist about and that she's very, very medicated about.
Yeah.
It's been going real bad, Chief.
I cannot stand the push to make Ghostbusters this reverent, important franchise. And I like Ghostbusters.
I think that part...
Holy shit, people. It's not worth all that.
I think that part of why that's happening... One second, my wife is making terrified noises in the kitchen. Everything okay, babe? Okay. Okay, I was worried that like we were gonna have to throw out a pot or something.
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking,
Okay. Sorry, whenever she starts making distressed noises, it's like when you hear it's like when you own a cat and you hear a crinkling noise somewhere. It's like, what are you chewing on?
Mm-hmm. What do you have? What do you have?
Yeah.
the yolk is escaping.
Yeah, no, that is not a good egg. You should not have left that on there for an hour. Okay. But yeah, no, I think that part of the reason that Ghostbusters keeps doing that is because, like, when they tried doing the all-ladies Ghostbuster, they actually were, like, keeping the tone from the original pretty well. Like it was still a goofy, like, supernatural, like, workplace comedy. And, like, old fanboys basically managed to tank it. And the series immediately started doing what old fanboys do with their favorite things, which is everyone is some kind of super badass and this legacy is very important. Like you see that with Snyder superhero movies
I
too.
don't
Yeah,
I don't understand that impulse. It's crazy to me. Ghostbusters is funny because they're all kind of losers.
yeah.
They're schlubby.
Well, I mean, like I think there's an element there. Okay, you're a superhero comics guy, right? There's
Yes.
a thing that I remember happening with like X-Men writing a long time ago, where when X-Men writers realized that women liked Gambit, rather than lean into Gambit as a romantic lead, they started to try to find ways of like making Gambit seem like more of a scumbag. They had him cheat on his wife or like, turn out to be an abuser or stuff like that. And my theory about why they did that, I don't have anything I can confirm. This is all just Boog being fucking mean. I think that part of the reason these dudes that did that is because they do not see themselves in Gambit. They see themselves in Wolverine. And like, not many comic writers are much like Wolverine, but Wolverine is what a lot of comic writers like to think the kind of man they would be if they had grown up in the woods and been a different guy, right?
Yes, very much so.
Like a type of, gruff, no nonsense, like badass animal man. And I regret to inform you that the audience for women like Wolverine, it's there, but it's smaller. I
It's a
I
different appeal.
yes. I feel like there's a similar thing with like Alan Moore talks about this actually about Watchmen as well. When the whole point of Rorschach is that he read a Batman comic and he's like, this guy sounds like a crazy person who would smell bad and not have a girlfriend. And he'd forgotten that to a certain type of comics fan, those are noble and admirable things to be.
The thing with Rorschach, Alan Moore is very blunt in how he wanted you to feel about Rorschach.
Yeah,
Though I do think I go back and forth on this. I think sometimes I feel like Alan Moore fumbled it a little bit with Rorschach because he does make him do all the cool, badass action hero stuff that's in that book. He's the one, investigating the crime. He's the one shaking down informants, and he gets cool fight scenes and shit. Um, and on other days, when I'm feeling more generous, I feel like it's just too nuanced for the average comic book enjoyer, where it's not a person's individual actions. Rorschach fighting cops is cool, but at the end of the day, he's a Nazi,
yeah,
and even Nazis can have principles they won't cross that might sometimes line up with your beliefs, but that doesn't mean they're the good guy,
yeah.
which is you never see that in comics because the audience is not prepared to accept that.
Yeah, I do think there's also an element there of like, I think that there's more of an appetite for this these days, where you have an action badass where the whole time it is acknowledging that the character's kind of a loser, and I think that Rorschach was just a little bit too early for that kind of thing, because I think that one thing that really landed about season one of The Mandalorian was actually that like the Mandalorian sucks. Like
He's not very
he
good at it.
he's like he is an action badass. You'll see him do all these really cool things, but you can't have a good day at work every day when your line of work is kidnapping people. So every so often he gets his ass kicked, or he loses, or he just fumbles his ability to talk to a girl. And so it takes his like badass hyper competence. It it turns his capacity for violence into the same mental niche as like knowing Sonic the Hedgehog lore. You get a very big impression of like what did you not do developmentally in order to know how to do this. Uh, and like he sells it really well. This comes off as a dude who once called his handgun mom. Like he's not well, and it works really well. And I just don't think like I think comic fans would get that better now because we're now littered with like failure comic superheroes. We've got Deadpool, we've got Moon Knight, we've got Taskmaster. All of these guys are objectively like, yeah, they're cool and all, and every so often you'd be like, haha, he's literally me. But maybe I am grateful for my GameStop job instead of doing that after all. Like
Yeah. The best two examples of that kind of character for me in comics, Daredevil and Green Arrow.
Green Arrow, yes. Daredevil, really?
Oh yeah, Daredevil. Because Daredevil, here's the thing: he will fold your laundry while you're still in it, he will solve the crime at the end of the day. He will flush out the bad guys and put people behind bars. Um, his life is always a mess, and it's his own fault. He can't stop cheating. He like his favorite thing to do is as soon as he hears that a friend or a relative has gotten in a relationship, he seeks out that woman and starts putting the moves on her. Like it happens so much.
I do appreciate that. I don't think I knew that about the character before. I haven't read a lot of Daredevil. Again, not the.
It's a thing that's come up sort of past what's considered the golden age, the Frank Miller 80s stuff.
Yeah.
It was introduced a little bit after that. But yeah, Daredevil he's a mess. And that's why I think he's so interesting, because he is very noble. And he has that guilt complex that makes him a cool hero, but also, like, he's kind of a scumbag otherwise.
See, I never seen him portrayed like that at all. I'm not like, in spite of all these very strong opinions, I'm not really a big superheroes guy. I have to know about superheroes because I make comics, and at the end of the day, it's a little bit like being in a small town and knowing what's going on with the local like college sports team. You have to know.
Yeah.
It's mandatory.
Yep.
That's interesting though. I might pick that up sometime.
Yeah, I need to do a big Daredevil read, because I like him a lot. I like that aspect of the character, but I haven't read as much as I would like to. The thing is, Marvel is really, really, really bad at collecting their runs.
Right.
And that is compounded by the fact that Marvel's greatest strength in storytelling is a long form story with the character.
All right.
Like, people ask me, what's a good Batman story to read? And I can list off 10 that are like, 4 or 5 issues each.
All right.
A good Spider Man story, I always say, read Amazing Fantasy 15 and keep reading until Stan Lee leaves. And that's the first great Spider Man story.
All right.
Because it's like 100 issues, and it's great. Every issue is good, but they're all interconnected. It's a big soap opera.
Yeah.
And Marvel is so scared of just collecting their stuff in order so people can read it conveniently. I don't know why. It's probably a Disney thing.
Well, I do think that there's an element to it too, where it's like there's a lot of serialized comics that has a lot in common with writing for like pro wrestling, in terms of like the story keeps right on going and never ends. And so I do wonder if there's actually like a fear of having a clear jump on point. Like, instead of having a pure consolidated thing, well, you'll absolutely fuck up the collector's market. And like those collectors are counting on you. They need to feed their children. You're not going to have they've carried you all this way. You're not going to abandon them now, are you?
Guys, you're not going to sell. Be honest with yourselves. You want them slabbed. You want them braided. You want to put them on the wall to look at.
Well, yes. God, there's so many, like, I've been trying to hit more, like, conventions in general to, like, one, put my work out there, and two, because it is just nice to do. Like, they're enjoyable. The collector's market for New York, like, seems to have this stranglehold on, like, which conventions get funded at all. And I cannot imagine that they're actually moving many goddamn books at these things. Baffling conduct. Like, the most successful
Very... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go first.
I forgot my thought.
All right. There's a lot of, like, whatchamacallit, like, the cons that I see doing the best are the ones that have, like, a live wrestling show and, like, a bunch of panels and a big Artist Alley section and a few, like, special guests and, like, performances. It's almost like a big concert hall almost. But there is this commitment to being like, no, I've got a buddy who owns Silver Age Comics. He's, he looks like a background character in every episode of The Sopranos, and he thinks that what we should actually have is a bunch of booths filled with long boxes and dudes that glare at you while chewing tobacco.
Yeah. I remember when San Diego Comic-Con was like that, and I loved it, but it's scary.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing...
People don't like it.
There's nothing wrong with that kind of show, but as somebody who's there to make a little bit of money, I am starting to be a little bit like, are you guys advertising these things? Are you thinking about who reads comics and who wants to come here? Like, I see all these, like, teens and, like 19-year-old furries hitting up their local, like, town convention just to, like, cosplay for the first time. and there's like the vaguest nod to a cosplay contest, and the rest of it is trying to get them very invested in your limited edition Funko Pops, which they are not going to do.
I want to go to a convention and have a table, and the table is pay me $1 to smash this Funko Pop.
Oh hell yeah. You would make money. Hell, I would pay for that.
It's like I would make enough, I think, over 4 days to, like, I don't know, buy Paramount, and then I'm in charge of DC Comics and we can start fixing things.
It, it's incredible to me that in George Lucas's 90px the dystopian thing that he did a while back, one of the plot points.
1138.
Yes, THX 1138. One of the plot points is that we were supposed to find like so deeply shameful about this future society is that these people buy will buy little plastic blocks simply for the joy of purchasing something and then go home and immediately throw it away. And now we actually do that as a culture.
Yep.
Absolutely buck wild.
I think
Pardon me
about
while
that
I
all the time.
shake my fist at Cloud.
It's just so. The thing that's. I love going to conventions, but the thing that's always a little bit depressing to me is how many booths are there just to sell stuff,
Yeah.
you know? And it's not like, oh, these are my sculptures, these are my masks, these are my paintings. It's like, I've got 200 Funko Pops, all the exclusives and the variants.
Yeah.
It's a horror convention, my guy. Why are you trying to sell me on a Big Bang Theory complete collection?
Yeah, you get a lot of that in Artist Alley with people with like drop shipped merch that's just like stacks upon stacks of like anime character charms. And
Yeah.
I am not here to disparage like people just got to eat, right? I'm not going to try to get on anyone's case about that, but the scene is for comics. I would like to see at least one book. A buddy of mine are actually talking a little bit about what it would take to start up a show, and we're saying like one of the things that we're going to do is say that like you got to have like 50 to 70% of your table just be like books or zines. They don't even have to look nice. They just got to be done.
Yeah.
Sec. Hey, I need a second opinion. Is it too much effort to try to make it look like she's rouged her face or is wearing lipstick?
I think that'd be a fun detail. I am a caveman when it comes to coloring, so I don't know how you would do it.
That's
But
fair.
I think that would add to it. I say go for it.
I'm going for it. Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot. A lot of the time when I do that, I am generally not actually waiting on an opinion. I'm sitting here going like, let's see if somebody who's looking reacts, so I can decide whether or not this is enough effort.
Yeah. That's, you flip a coin, not just for the coin to tell you what to do, but to see if you like the option that comes up.
Exactly. Appreciate you understanding.
Like I said, I know nothing about coloring. I was never able to color adequately when I was drawing. But when I see you do these masks to like start doing color blobs,
Yeah.
and every time I'm like, how does he know what shape to make the shading?
A lot of the times that I've done it so many times that it's muscle memory. Like
Okay.
this. I feel like this is going to sound like bullshit. I don't like to mysticize my skills, but like there's art is both a physical practice and a field of study, right? Which means after a while you've trained your hand and it does feel like there is an object there that you're just tracing. And like there isn't. This is just force of habit and like training myself to recognize the tooth grain on the like texture that I put on top of my iPad screen. But yeah, a lot of it's really just all of these details are so small that any given one of them being off is not going to throw off the overall whole. That's why I go super detailed with this, honestly. I'm masking shaky line work and shit like that.
Well, the overall effect works.
Oh, it works very well. Very proud of what I do. How goofy can I make this? Like, and then for your patience. I will be back to conversation in one moment.
All right.
Yeah, and then I just kind of adjust the opacity here. I did not, so that means I can just. Yeah, I think that's working.
Okay, yeah. I sees it.
All right. What else was on the horror movie list for a hot minute? I've already finally sat down to like show my wife Deadstream. Deadstream's fantastic, by the way. You got to give that a go sometime.
I need to watch that, and I keep pitching it to my girlfriend. She keeps reminding me that she hates it. So that's gonna have to be a me by myself movie.
Oh, she's seen it and hates it.
Yeah,
Oh, lame.
which I can't win them all.
Fair.
But I know the guys who directed that did a short for one of the recent VHS movies,
Oh,
and every VHS movie has got two good shorts amongst a sea of crap and truncated feature pitches. And the one they made was really good.
all right. I'm down for that. I have enjoyed. I've only seen two of the VHSs, but I have enjoyed them every time. I do agree that not every one of them hits super hard, but like the ones you remember do make it worth it. There's a reason that I grab so many anthology comics, even though I do not like everything I find in an anthology comic. It gives some little guy the chance to shine. I think that my favorite one from the first VHS movie was the Succubus short.
It's been so long since I've seen VHS. I remember that one, and I remember not liking it because, unfortunately, I didn't like any of them in that first one.
Really?
Yeah, it was just so. Maybe I need to go back to it.
And
'Cause
you know,
let me be clear. I adore the idea. It's like perfectly suited to my sensibilities, but I just found all of them so grimy and so nihilistic without purpose. I guess that it just kind of got on my nerves.
all right. I didn't get that vibe, but I don't think I look at horror. There are definitely horror movies that I consider too nihilistic, but I don't think I remember feeling any of that about VHS. Also, man, you don't have to give something another chance just because I liked it. Like, I'm not to be trusted. I fucking hated Baldur's Gate 3.
You didn't like Baldur's Gate? Oh no, that's right. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to. I really do. And I kind of want to finish it sometime just because it sort of nailed a lot of thoughts I have about D&D and how like the hobby has changed and like what Wizards of the Coast is trying to brand it as these days and like the weird fork that it's in for its reputation. But the game itself, like losing 2 hours of progress because like some like one of the quests broke does not feel like a good time to me. I did not enjoy that.
Well, can't disagree with that.
Felt too much like a let's play too.
The thing about
Live play.
I like to revisit things because I have realized lately that I understand movies a lot more now than I did when I was in school to learn about movies.
Oh, I feel that.
Which I wish I knew that then. I'd have $12,000 in the bank right now. The other thing is that a lot of these movies I saw I saw them before I got my glasses, so I can't trust my
I'm sorry. I'm not making fun of you for not having glasses, but like that's a very funny like. Oh, yeah, that fixes a lot.
I went a long time not knowing I needed them. It was so the way I learned I needed them, the way anyone learned I had any kind of poor eyesight was when I went to the DMV to do my to get my learner's permit, and my mom and I go in, we do the paperwork, and like, all right, we're gonna do the eye exam. Please look up and read off the top line. And I was in a bad mood. I think purely because I was a teenager. And I look up and I'm like, 4QX7WI. The lady just looks at me. I'm like, what? And my mom looks at me. She's like, take this seriously. I'm like, I am. She's like, okay, read the second line. HP I just couldn't. I couldn't parse it at all. And they're like,
Oof.
okay, well, you can't see that, so you need to take an eye exam before we give you anything. And so we were able to take my picture for the license that day, and it was a very humid day. And I want to be kind to myself and say I had, but no, I have to be honest. We are on camera. I have 1980s heavy metal bassist hair, so that's a
Mm.
bad combination. That hair and that humidity. So we got the picture back, and my mom said, "You look like a member of Al Qaeda." Supportive.
I mean,
The optometrist, and that's how we learned I have 20/70 vision.
oof. To be fair, very mom thing to say.
Yes. I finally got that picture updated when I got my real ID a little while ago. And
Nice.
I'm like, I'm not going to have the bad hair this time. I'm going to go in showered and clean and have it pulled back in a ponytail. And then I got the picture, and I'm pretty tall, and they had the camera up too high for me, so it cuts off the bottom of my chin, and I'm off center. And when they gave me the printout, my first thought was, I look like I got out. Guantanamo.
Oh, that's good. Let's see. How am I going to texture this little bug boy? I know I'm going to texture this little bug boy. I'm going to cheat.
Do you remember which of the two VHSs you saw?
I saw the
first one.
I saw the first one, and I saw. I think it was like VHS viral VHS. It was either the one themed around 1997 or the one themed about being on the internet, and I don't remember which. I'm afraid.
Viral is the one that nobody likes.
Really?
Even beyond the shorts not being very good, which, if you ask me, most of them aren't. It's only 3 shorts, so you're just getting much less movie than you do in the first two.
Huh.
The There's a short in the second one you have to see, and I need to look up what it's called. Let's see. No, I'm not looking for Home Alone on VHS. Ah, yes. It's called Safe Haven, and it's made by the guy who directed The Raid.
All right. Oh, I don't think I saw the raid.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, really?
It is an Indonesian action movie. It's basically Die Hard.
Okay.
A SWAT team are told, like, hey, we've got an operation today. There's this crime lord, this drug dealer, gangster dude. He lives on the top floor of this apartment building. He's on
Oh, hell yeah.
we've been given the all go. We're gonna go in at the crack of dawn, get to the top, grab it, and in and out. 20 minutes. And when they're on their way up, they get spotted, and somebody shoots, and everybody hears it because this is massive concrete apartment complex, and they get trapped. And the crime lord, learning about this, says in the intercom, "Anybody who kills a cop today gets to live here forever for free." And so
Ooh.
the entire building is after that.
Oh, that's excellent.
It's pretty great.
All right, throwing that on the list.
So that director and a few of the cast members from that movie did the short in VHS2 called Safe Haven, which is structured as these documentary filmmakers are visiting a cult in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And the cult is pretty heavily patterned off of Heaven's Gate.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
It's creepy. There's a weird charismatic cult leader guy. They all
Yeah.
dress the same. They've got little rituals they do.
We're playing the hits.
I don't want to spoil, but it pops off, and the way it pops off is nuts.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Okay, throwing that one on the list. That was VHS. Which one you said again? Okay, VHS 2.
Yeah.
VHS 2.
I
All right.
don't think I remember any other segment from that movie, but that one made it worth it.
I mean, I am down for that any old fucking time. That sounds great.
And then, so they made 3 of those.
Yeah.
Then a few years go by, Actually, 7 years go by, and then Shudder starts making them.
Ooh.
And
Oh.
VHS 94, which is the one from 2021, I like that one a lot. That's the only one where I like every segment. Um, there is one that is marginally weaker than the others, and you'll be surprised when I tell you which one it is because it's the one that everybody else loves and says is the best. It's too long,
Hmm. I see.
and it's really ambitious, and some of its ambitions are pretty laid bare with the budget they had to work with.
I see.
And this is a me thing, but if you're calling your movie VHS, you have to shoot on VHS or at least make it look like VHS.
No, I feel you. That's the theme.
In digital. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So 94, every segment is good. And all the others have just gotten so much longer and so much worse. There'll be one or two good skits, and the rest are just.
I mean, to be fair, like, okay, so what is your opinion on Shudder as a horror platform?
I loved it back in the day when I first started subscribing, and I love them for their selection. Their originals, I could take it or leave it. And now that it seems to be mostly originals or things they're acquiring, I ended my subscription because I just haven't enjoyed the vast majority of them that I've seen.
Interesting. So me and my wife stay subscribed, and like I adore it just because it's oddball stuff. It's not what I'm getting at the theater, and like I get made fun of in some of my art circles for this opinion a little bit. I'm firmly of the view that negative experiences can still be interesting experiences. A movie can suck; it just can't be boring. And I do not ever find anything boring on Shudder. I find a lot of things that suck, but I'm never bored.
Yeah, I get that. It's very, I don't know, their originals have sort of developed a house style that I'm not too fond of. Um, they always are a little too wacky for my tastes.
I could
Like
see that.
knowingly wacky, and not like because a Dario Argento movie or a Lucio Fulci movie can be pretty wacky, but the intent is to be scary and disturbing, and
Yes.
that can shine through the strangeness. But like, did you see Late Night with the Devil?
No. When I saw that they used AI in it, I just took it off the list.
Yeah, yeah. It's the AI stuff tanks it so hard. It's crazy. There's only like 3 images they use, but every time they do, I it made me like the movie less.
Yeah.
But even aside from that, it's got a good lead performance. It's got a good idea, but it's so. If you're gonna do a movie that claims to be the last recording of a live Halloween broadcast that went terribly wrong, you should try to make it really feel like it really is that.
Yeah.
You know? There's
No,
so
I
many
see
moments
that.
in this where it starts to feel like I don't know. It just starts to feel like a movie. Like there's a segment. These are minor spoilers, so if anyone hasn't seen Late Night with the Devil, just beware, I'm going to spoil a small sequence. They have a hypnotist on, and he's a skeptic. And he's
Yep.
like, "Oh, every strange thing this girl has claimed to have happened can easily be faked. Watch this." And he grabs the co-host. He sits him down. And he starts talking to him and hypnotizing him. And he tells him, "Oh, Gary, there's worms in your body. There's worms under your skin." And the guy starts to freak out, and we see a sequence of him ripping open his flesh and pulling worms out. And he grabs his face and rips it off, and giant worms are crawling out of it. And it's a cool, fun puppet effect.
Yeah.
And then it cuts, and he's fine. And the hypnotist like snaps his fingers, and everyone's like, "Huh? What happened?" He's like, "I hypnotized you." Like, "No, but the worms." Roll the tape back, and they play the recording that they're making because it's a TV show, and they just see him saying all that, and then the guy is just acting like he's pulling worms out of his face, and nothing happened. And that drove me nuts because if that guy is such a talented hypnotist, he can not only make the guy think there's worms in his body, but the entire audience and the viewer think this guy has got worms coming out of his flesh. That is the most remarkable act of
Yeah.
magic in human history. And everyone's just like, "Oh, what a good trick, Seymour." You know,
So the idea is like the rest of the tone of the movie is like found footage, but it's getting too goofball. You can't play it straight.
it does. Yeah,
Okay.
it gets pretty goofball with some things. They really want to show off the special effects they made.
All
And
right.
this found footage is not where you show off your special effects.
Yeah,
You know,
that's very true.
if you want to make an epic gore dummy that you're gonna smash, I love that for you. I want to see it. Lock the camera down.
Yeah.
You know,
All right, that makes sense. I kind of agree with you that Shutter there's an appetite for like wacky B movie level stuff. I think partially because like A24 has dominated the landscape for a hot minute, and people like
oh,
there's nothing wrong with enjoying like prestigious, we're very serious people horror, but people like are start like in the same sense that sometimes people will watch a play and be like, won't somebody throw a fucking pie at someone's face? People will watch a horror movie for a bit and like, won't somebody like be full of pig organs for just a fucking second? And so like I do appreciate that we're getting a little bit of a return to like knucklehead horror, but I do think that like Shudder's definitely like we're swinging a little bit too hard in the other direction, so that everything is just gory cartoons now.
that's the thing is I don't want it to feel like a cartoon.
Yeah.
And you're gonna look at me like I'm crazy for saying this, but I feel like the Terrifier movies, of all things, do a good job with having insane ultraviolence and not feeling like a cartoon.
Interesting. So I haven't seen it yet, but that does not correspond to the critique I've already gotten of it.
Well, start with Terrifier 2. The first one is just watch a YouTube video of all the kills. That's the only part that's really worth it.
All right.
Terrifier 2 is a big step up um, because the main character is a teenage girl who's really into cosplay and, art and costuming and such. And she is fairly mentally ill. She has, I don't think they ever say her diagnosis, but she takes medication for schizophrenia, because she frequently has hallucinations.
Yeah.
Um, and they play that very straight and very chill and very down low. There's no one who's like, "Hey, freak, need your brain pills?"
Yeah, yeah.
Something she does. Um,
Right.
her brother is a little twerp who's a true crime fan, who is getting disturbingly interested in Art the Clown and all the reports of what he did. Uh, but when he's actually confronted with some kids who are like poking a dead raccoon, he's the only one who's like, "Come on, guys, that's gross. You shouldn't treat animals that way."
Yeah.
They're very believable, likable characters.
All right.
And then the killer is a happy tree friend. You know,
All right.
this
All right. I feel
he's
you.
this nightmare satanic Bugs Bunny who warps in and makes the movie feel, like a vision from hell.
And the goofiness is what makes him feel out of place. Actually, a lot of like classic Bog Leech stories kind of get me that way too. Like, I love comedy as a horror element. Oh, you've read Bog Leech stuff?
He's a classically I did. I actually knew him a little bit many years ago on a forum. We
Yes.
talked briefly once or twice. I don't
Small
think you
world.
remember me. I've read a few of his things, and he really does get that like sense of absurdity
Yes.
or really hit.
Interesting. Wow, small world. But yeah, I honestly, this is the first description I've heard of Terrifier that made me want to see it. Prior to that, I thought it was just kind of like Saw movies, but there's a clown.
That's what the first one is. It's very low production value. Very much not trying to do like character beats or a story arc or anything. It's just there's a clown, he kills people. It's elevated just because the special effects are so good, and the guy playing Art is a really talented performer.
All right.
Terrified 2 has all that and like an actually good story and characters you like.
And I don't really need to have seen one, is what I'm hearing.
No, they summarize everything.
All right, might throw that on the list. I've been hosting B movie nights at my place now that I actually live in a neighborhood with like my friends living close by, and it has been very fun. Um, so my friends are very like a lot of my IRL friends are very sweet, squishy, like nerdy professionals, and so it's been really fun exposing them to like Dead Alive.
Yeah.
It's been
I
I I'm really grateful to have such a loving and supportive group of willing victims.
if they liked Dead Alive, they can probably do this. Though the tenor is a little different.
I mean,
Like
Dead
I
Alive.
said, you do,
Dead Alive is a cartoon the whole way through.
yeah, you do like these characters, and then art starts doing Newgrounds stuff for them.
Well, I mean, like I kind of respect that more than when the characters are just kind of like meat dummies.
Yeah,
Actually, I feel like this is a conversation that's considered trite nowadays, but I feel like nobody ever engages with it like all that thoughtfully. Um, like Cabin in the Woods, like the ending and how they talked about why these kids were chosen as sacrifices always got me like very thoughtful about horror as a genre and what exactly we do get out of this type of story. Because like the director coming out and saying they want to see you punished for your youth, like really stopped me on my tracks and got me thinking, why what do I like in a horror movie? Why do I want to watch these things happen to these people? And
yeah,
I don't know. I appreciate when a movie is willing to step away from that and make you actually invested in what happens to these characters instead of sort of enjoying. You're still enjoying the kills. Don't get me wrong, but like it's not a point and laugh moment.
yeah. the the thing I've noticed is that the best of these movies,
Yeah.
um, you're not looking forward to them getting killed.
Yes.
You know,
Exactly.
Halloween, those are all regular, normal girls,
Yeah.
and you like them, or at least don't want to see them get mutilated.
Yeah.
And that's why it's scary. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think, is great because it feels almost like a documentary, like you're following like roadies, following a band, and then they just get ventilated,
Yeah.
and it's terrifying because they're so regular.
Yeah.
Um, the trashy stuff seems to have more contempt for its characters.
Yeah.
Um, the Burning is one that's really like, man, all these people suck.
Mm. And like it has its place. Don't get me wrong, but it like it feels more deliberate. Like when you think it through
Yeah,
like that. You know what I mean? I prefer thought put into like what we're getting out of that. I think that lighting's working. Linear bird looks a little better. I can always go over it again later. God, what did I pick up recently that had a good take on? Actually, there is something I still want to check out sometime soon. I don't remember the name of it, but the idea is basically it's Home Alone with a reasonable stance on the kids. Basically, you know, they have a babysitter over, and a couple of crooks break in, and the kids start setting traps to like stop the crooks. But the traps keep getting more and more gruesome and sadistic until eventually they're like straight up kidnapping the crooks just to like torture them more. And I don't know, like Macaulay Culkin but fucked up is probably something some like B-list Newgrounds animator has thought at some point or another, you know?
oh, certainly.
But it seems like they thought through the concept being like, yeah, these are like kind of rich kids who are divorced from the consequences of their actions for a little bit. Eventually their attentions turn on the babysitter as well because they're basically just going mad with power, like brutalizing these adults and putting all of their feelings about like the adults in their lives into like extracting it from the hide of these intruders.
Yeah,
I don't know. It looks like a good one. I should
yeah,
look
it's
up what the
an
name of that is
interesting
later.
pick.
Yeah,
Was that Better Watch Out?
it might be better. Watch out.
I heard something about that. That's just a pure guess because I've seen that screenshot around.
What did you hear about it?
Nothing. I heard it compared to Home Alone,
All right.
and I see the poster a lot on streaming, but I've never sat down and watched it.
I don't know. Maybe I'll throw it on my list and report back. Oh, nope. All right. Tail's looking good. Folds in the coat's looking good. Leave the mantis as is for now. Yeah, I got to work on the background guys more.
God, that's a huge background. I don't envy you.
Yeah, I care about this, so I absolutely popped off. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
What did I even have on this layer? Oh, I made that to be where the other background mini guys are going. All right. I am excited for this book to come out, though. Last of the series, man.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Now, on the subject of like good horror stories, I don't know how closely you've been keeping up with the events of the Look Outside playthrough me and Defiant are doing. I am obsessed. It's been driving me crazy that I can't play that game when I'm not on stream, or at least can't get ahead of where the streaming file is. Like,
I get that feeling.
if you can appreciate cartoony horror, I cannot recommend it more highly. Again, I don't know how much of it you've been sticking around for.
I've
But
only been, I think I was only there for 2 streams, and I had to dip out both times. But what I saw looked really good. I like that sort of, I guess it's a subgenre at this point of like almost Pokemon esque. I guess it's just an RPG. Um,
I could see that a bit, yeah. Like collecting characters and like seeing how well you get through with your own personal strategy.
I will say I really am waiting for cartoon horror to have a moment. Excuse me. I feel like we're approaching a critical mass of it before we really get a good take because there's all the mascot horror for kids that are like, ooh, evil cartoons, evil Muppets.
Yeah,
I want something really nasty for adults.
I feel that.
I mentioned how art is like a satanic Bugs Bunny. I want something like that.
All right. Yeah, no, I think I'm right there with you. Like, yeah, mascot horror. In order for that to sell, in order for it to reach the audience they want, you kind of have to pull your punches a little bit in terms of the actual scariness. All you can really do is be uncomfortable, and like, kids are such a well-loved market for media that it's even like almost seen as like more viable. It seems to take your more adult stories and pitch it at them. Like you saw what happened with Megan. They're doing a sequel now where she's some kind of like international spy or something like that. Yeah, when the whole point originally was that she was a scary monster robot. I agree that I think we're waiting on some good cartoony horror. There has to have been something recently that hit that mark. I guess not on a high budget. Yeah, all of the high budget horror movies these days seem to be trying to take themselves a bit more seriously. Heartbreaker looked interesting. Heartbreaker or Hard Eyes.
Oh, Hard Eyes, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I saw the trailer for that. And I'm like, that might be something. And I read a few reviews and I decided to wait.
yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I saw it
I
around a
feel like
little bit.
every slasher that comes out now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I like the aesthetic a lot, right? I have a big thing about like good bright colors in horror. I do feel like there's a mistake that gets made where people think that the only way your story can be taken seriously if it's in like colors of the dirt spectrum. So it's nice to see something like a little poppy, a little colorful, a little eye catching, while still being there to be like upsetting.
Mhm.
I actually really wanted Sorry We're Closed to be that, but it's kind of more like it's playing with dating sim survival horror, but it's more in favor of the dating sim than the survival horror. So, didn't quite land for me. Swing and a miss.
I can't with the dating sim stuff. Not to discourage anyone who may be working on dating sim stuff, but I won't be there.
I I like it in theory. I feel like I like the idea of games being able to tackle romance as a subject, and then I play one, and then I'm like, okay, I'll come back later. Uh, next one for sure. I'll try again.
The only dating sim stuff that's ever worked for me was in Baldur's Gate 3, and it's only because it's incidental to doing quests. It just sort of happens, um, and I like the characters there, so it's like, okay, this is a nice bonus. I get more cutscenes with them.
That's fair.
I have the same problem with romance games as I do with in fan communities. People would do role playing, creative writing, and such.
Yep.
When I'm in like a let's say, for example, a Batman fan community.
Yep.
I want to write stories about Batman saving the day, or struggling to solve a murder, or danger and drama.
Doing
I don't
Batman
want to
shit.
write stories. Yeah, I don't want to write or read stories about Batman at a coffee shop in a sweater talking to Eddie. Because I'm like, this isn't about Eddie. He's the Riddler, and he should be, he should have a deadly game show or something.
I
He
feel
should
you.
not be sipping coffee and complaining at each other about like their last date. Guys, I want excitement, please.
I there is something that I kind of like. So I agree with you. A lot of those things don't really grab me, but I'm also very aware that they're not for me, right? The point of that kind of fanfic is that it's front loaded with all the lore about the characters already known. So like the romance writer can get to the good shit. Like romance takes a lot of time, and if you can skip establishing who the characters are, it makes it a lot easier to like enjoy your popcorn. But there's an additional layer to it that I really enjoy that actually can take us swinging right back into creepypasta, which is that it is such a default way for some people to engage with stories, like some kids more accurately to engage with stories, that there's something very fascinating that happens when they get their hands on very inappropriately fitting characters for it. Like
Mm.
did you see that Tumblr got very obsessed with I have no mouth and I must scream for a little bit?
Oh yeah, I was there, Ground Zero.
Yep. Like, and I love that story, but I keep seeing people draw their like Amsonas or like designing what Russia Am and China Am must have looked like, or like like coming up with makeup sets that correspond to the characters. And what it reminds me of is a story somebody once told about like they brought home they had a daughter and they brought her home, and like after raising her for a few years, somebody mentioned, hey, if you only get her like dolls and girls' toys, what is she going to think about like her role in a household or role in society or stuff like that? And he goes, and like this, the guy writing the story goes, oh, that's not a bad point. Maybe I should get some. So he tried to go for what he could thought of as the most boy toy possible. He got her two like big truck toys, and he gave them to her, and she looked confused and thanked him for them. And then he comes back later, and he sees that she has tucked them into bed next to her dolls. I feel like the like shipping can get a little bit that way sometimes because I'm a fan of all these horror things. I'm a fan of all this like classic sci-fi, and seeing these kids get into Am and like start trying to ship Am with like the soft helpless thing and shit like that. I realize they're tucking the trucks into bed. This is how they play with their toys, and I don't know. There's something that was kind of sweet about that, even if it's not what I go here for.
I hadn't considered it that way. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm just not wired that way, unfortunately, so I don't really get it. I
I mean,
guess the way I play with my toys is I throw them off the top of Nakatomi Plaza.
yeah, and hey, totally valid. Nothing wrong with that. Like, I also would rather see the Riddler have a dangerous game show thing, but like, fuck it, they're just toys.
Yeah, it is very funny though. I maintain a Tumblr blog, and I like to share pictures of things that I like, my interests or whatever strikes my fancy. And around Halloween, I like to share lots of slashers and horror movie monsters and shit.
Mhm.
And it's getting really hard to find like a picture of Jason Voorhees because you have to wade through 400 posts about what would Jason do if he lost his teddy and asked you to find it for him.
Yeah, it is getting notoriously harder to find pictures of Jason Voorhees without his tits out. Like that is really becoming a difficult thing on that website.
And really, what just makes me mad is like they're drawing him wrong. He wouldn't be that shredded.
It's
He's
true.
a hillbilly.
Yeah,
He's
no,
not lifting.
he's gonna have a belly. Like that man is living.
Be more pert than that.
Yeah, exactly. Right there with you. But hey, look, the youths will learn. I didn't know that you were
I
still
had,
on. Sorry, good.
oh yeah, I'm there. It's my favorite one,
Really?
despite everything. Yeah.
I need to do a big purge on mine. It's been driving me crazy recently. But I still want it to rally. I have this fantasy that one day they remove the I'm not safe for work ban and all of my favorite artists come home.
Now's the time to do it.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
the movie's in
absolutely.
the air.
People are pushing hard. I made like 3 fucking calls today. I'm gonna make another 4 tomorrow.
I needed to start. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very glad that this has reached critical mass and people are realizing how important that is. Because for years, I've been like, man, I hope something happens. I hope we do something about that.
Yeah.
But there just wasn't the will before.
It is
There
nice.
always was, but there weren't enough people, I think, who were aware.
I mean, like more and more, I'm seeing a lot of folks starting to be like, okay, what do I do personally instead of somebody should do something, and I think that
Yeah.
that's helping a lot. Cartoonist Co-op has actually been pretty good about that too, like organizing folks to push back on that kind of thing.
Also, a good way not to go insane.
Yeah.
With all the bad news.
You know, there's some advice I got a while back when my job hunt was going very poorly. When it was basically, I said like I don't feel like there's anything I can do, and like what's it? I was talking to my dad at the time, and what he basically said to me was, you know, I when I was in your position, I couldn't imagine saying that out loud because if I felt like what I was doing wasn't working, that meant there was no reason not to try something else. Because even if it didn't work, at least I wouldn't be sitting there thinking about how fucked I was. And, you know, that hit pretty hard in that moment.
Yeah, I get that.
Ugh, not to be a downer.
Eh.
Also, just blocking out the background right now. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch over to the guys clustered up around the protagonists. What?
We were talking about Jason. I just remembered. Are you familiar with all this Jason universe stuff? I'm trying not to swear on your stream.
You can swear on my stream. I say fuck all the time.
Okay.
Hell, I have British people. Yeah, I have British people on here, so, like, there's a minimum cunt count. You're fine.
I wish we had a word that powerful. I don't want to say it because it's really bad, but you know. Yeah, I fucking hate this Jason Universe shit. It's driving me insane. Are
Now-
you familiar?
This is not a Steven Universe alternate AU or anything like that, right? This is a new thing.
No, but I think there is something there. Both Jason and Steven have important relationships with their mothers who are
Oof.
not present for their formative years, so I think you could mine something out of that.
Your
No,
brain is fucking huge.
Thank you. Wait till you hear my other Jason pitch, which I won't repeat on camera because it's a good idea. There was a lawsuit years back at this point, I think over a decade,
Are?
where the screenwriter of the first Friday the 13th sued the producer, who said, basically, you owe me back wages for all the money you've made on the further movies in the series, because it's all based off of my work. And the producer countersued and said, you are an employee. You owe me, you know, for what you've made, which is insane bullshit and should
Yeah.
be laughed out of court, but it wasn't. And they kept going at it for years and years and years. And the fun fact, we learned so much about the case and the intricacies and what it might lead to from a guy named Larry Zerner, who is a copyright and entertainment lawyer, and was also Shelley in Friday the 13th Part 3.
Oh, cool.
The kid that Jason takes his masks from. So that was fun. And the worst case scenario has come about, where one party owns the rights to make horror movies called Friday the 13th that take place at Camp Crystal Lake. And the other retains the rights to Jason Voorhees, the Vulcan mask.
Oh, they cut the baby in two.
Yeah, they really did it.
Oh my god.
They finally did it.
Oh my god. Oh, it's beautiful.
That's my understanding, at least.
They should have sent a poet.
Now you'd think those two guys, after a decade in court, spending God knows how much money suing each other, would say, okay, I've got half, you've got half. Let's put our differences aside and try to make some money. You know, because I mean, God knows, they must have spent so much.
I've met enough movie people to know that that will probably not happen.
Yeah, you're exactly correct, because the guys who have Jason have launched a new venture called Jason Universe. And for like a year now, we're like, what is Jason Universe, other than why is it a Jason Universe, other than the fact that Universe has an I and an E, which you can turn into a one and a three when you write it out. Um, it is a multimedia venture that will focus on developing merchandise, short films, advertisements, podcasts, video games, and feature films.
Oh
about
my
Jason.
god. Oh, I love it.
It's clear that they had to make some changes to make him legally distinct from the one that's tied up in the other movies. So his mask now has angry eyes and exactly 13 holes, so it looks like crap. Um, they revealed an official design. This will be the official design of Jason for all Jason Universe projects. And I want you to imagine asking an AI model to generate a picture of Jason Voorhees.
Oh dear.
And what you're imagining is correct. It's just the most generic, like, yep, that's him. He's got a brown jacket and brown pants and a machete. And
Okay.
the reason
So good.
I invite you to consider that possibility is that's what they did.
Yep.
I'll link the picture to you later. It's so clear they just asked an AI, like, make a new Jason, and they photoshopped it a little bit.
Oh my god. So, which one
They,
did the studio or the writer end up with the universe?
the screenwriter, sorry, the producer, so the studio basically ended up
Okay.
with the universe.
Okay.
Because, and this is correct, Victor Miller, the writer, he wrote Jason into the movie, but Jason in that movie is just a little kid who pops out of the lake at the end. He does not have a mask. He does not kill anybody. All that stuff appears in the sequels.
Oh, it's so
yeah.
good. It's so good.
I hate it. I hate it. All I wanted was one more movie. There's 12. Just make one more and we can be done forever.
Oh, it's so good. I'm sorry this happened to you. I
The next thing that Jason will appear in is a short film called Sweet Revenge. It will be 13 minutes long. And I said, okay, well, it's been a while since I've seen that big lug. Maybe this will be fun. And they reveal Sweet Revenge is actually a commercial for a hard cider.
okay. So,
Not like this.
I
Not like
before
this.
before I say this, I want to make it clear, Curdles, your feelings are valid. And I, as your friend, I support you. There was a lot of complicated emotions I had after watching The Rise of Skywalker.
Mhm.
And in the end, the conclusion I reached is that J.J. Abrams understood Star Wars so well as its biggest fanboy that he could reveal to the audience, an audience that would never would have learned this otherwise, that maybe these movies were never good. I I'm sure there's some good Jason movies. I actually haven't seen a lot of them. I've seen the original and I think I've seen bits of all of the ensuing ones. But at a certain level, on a certain way, wasn't Jason Voorhees already a beer commercial? Wasn't he already an NFT line? Wasn't he already a sick Fortnite skin?
Yeah, but they were movies primarily,
I know, I'm not.
pulpy, filthy mass entertainment, but at least it was that.
I,
He
I'm
wasn't turning to the camera and holding up a can of Coke.
I agree, but like I'm wondering if this is a bold, new, innovative look at the character we've loved for all these years. I again, you have every right in the world to be pissed off about this. I would be too. But there like can you agree with me that there's a sort of poetry to it?
Yeah, I just feel like Jason is now my Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Oh,
Just to put him down.
oh yeah. And
Good
like
crap, it's Jason.
think about those filthy, disgusting rabbits.
Yeah.
That's I thank you for sharing this with me. I'm sorry if I seem callous, but that really was a fantastic moment for my whole evening.
I accept that this is how it has to go.
Yeah. It's like a breakup you saw coming. It's sad, but at least it's over.
It's me make two. I have two Jason movies in mind. Let me make them, and then you can do whatever the hell you want.
Hey, reach out to these universe guys. It's clear that they appreciate the value of a dollar. Hey, it happens to all of us.
I give him a call. I'm like, what if we did one where Jason's in jail? And they'll say, that's great. Maybe he can advertise shoes. And I'll say some things that can't be repeated, and they won't call me again.
I mean, I do feel like if you're going to do a prison story, cigarettes are the brand to be going with, since they're going to be plot relevant. That might be a little too leprechaun-y.
Fuck, dude. Do this with Leprechaun.
Oh yeah, Leprechaun would fit in great with like everything that you're talking about here. Hell, like again, cider commercial, perfectly thematic, works out great.
And it's fine because he's always been goofy. You know, it feels okay if they were always goofy.
Yes,
Friday the 13th, at least at the start, took itself fairly seriously.
yes, right there with you. You know, me and my wife
If
finally.
you haven't seen them. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say the ones you should watch is 2, 4, and 6.
All right.
That'll be my recommendation if you've never seen any and are like, what are the best ones? Number 2 is the best, just as a straightforward horror thriller. 6 is a very good horror comedy. When you think slasher movie in your head, 6, that's what that is.
All right.
And then 4 is like the platonic ideal of a Friday the 13th movie. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it's the most.
All right, I get that. I'll throw them on the list. Me and my wife finally saw the first one comparatively recently, and I was really struck by how brilliantly simple it was in a lot of
Oh
ways,
yeah, very straightforward.
and like it works very well. Yeah, no, I'll check out the other ones sometime. Like it's a classic of the canon. I feel like I've gotta pay my respects, you know.
Yeah.
Actually,
Really, it's.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say 2 is fun because it's before Jason's invincible. You know, he's just a very determined hillbilly. He doesn't even have the mask in that one. He just wears a bag over his head. And there's lots of little moments where, like, there's a part where the protagonist Ginny, Jason's chasing after her. She hides in like a shed. Jason runs in. He's looking around, peering, and she bursts out of the shed. And she's got a chainsaw. And she swings it at him. And Jason, you know, any horror killer you'd expect, he'd like throw his weapon up and knock it away from her and start chasing her. Jason drops his pitchfork and like freaks out and falls backward, like, oh my god, be careful! What are you doing? Which is my favorite moment of the whole movie.
I mean, it does seem reasonable. You know, it's funny. I see so many people who are slasher fans dunk on Ghostface all the time for like tripping and fumbling his way after people that he's trying to kill. But like, realistically, no murder goes smoothly. Like, they're all usually a little like.
It's impossible to do anything with any amount of manual dexterity in a costume like that.
Yeah.
When I have the robes and the mask on, I can't do shit. I have to get on my mark, and I just have to be there until we're done.
See, this is what the VTubing's for.
Yeah.
I'm ready to. Somebody burst through my door with a chainsaw right now. I'm ready to go. By which I mean, you know, scream and shit myself. But no, that does sound like a good bit. I should like. I'm looking forward to this now. I'm throwing this on the list. Actually, another classic that I finally watched for the first time recently, Return of the Living Dead, which I did not realize was like so fucking smart.
Yeah.
Like I did like it's incredible that the scene where the good way of putting it, like this movie kind of does a great job of presenting kind of like nuanced, relatable character. Like the punk credentials are through the roof. Like the fact that these are like grimy, local, nice people, and that you like you said before, you do care about them surviving and want them to make it. And like introducing all these new ideas to like the zombie mythos in general. But the thing that always sticks with me is like the fuck up old man who kicks the whole thing off initially, trying to impress his younger coworker, also has a scene where he tearfully takes off his wedding ring, kisses it, and crawls into an oven to make sure that he doesn't hurt anyone. Like that, I there's a there's a book, Road to Mars, that basically is sort of a it's a Douglas Adams, as not Douglas Adams himself, but one of his friends, approach to a story about comedians doing a circuit from Earth to Mars, and their companion is an android, and it's part of a whole thing throughout the movie that androids are clearly inferior to humans because they don't understand comedy. And what the book does the entire time is it jumps between the events of the story, with the comedians just trying to sort of make it through their lives, and like one of them is very divorced and wants to not wants to maintain access to his kid or whatever. And in the future, some guy finding the android's treatise on attempting to understand comedy, and like trying to hunt down the android character to murder him to take credit for the thesis. This is a very. I know that this is taking a hot minute. I swear this is going somewhere. Um, the android's eventual thesis about comedy is that you need an understanding of like it. If laughter is an interrupted defense mechanism, you have to have a sense of fear to find anything funny. Why is 6 afraid of 7? 7, 8, 9. Consumption. There's a bit where the punchline could drop and the joke stops being funny. And like in that same story, eventually the guy hunting the android down in the quote unquote present finds him at like an android retirement home and kills him. And I do feel like Return of the Living Dead has that same vibe where in doing a parody, by occasionally dropping the joke a little bit and taking us right back into pure horror, it hits so much harder.
It really does.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct.
That was probably a very long way of approaching that idea.
No, I liked it because, like I said, you're totally correct. I really love in movies when this is mostly like genre stuff, there's very high stakes. When the goofy character can be noble
Oh yeah.
to any degree.
Oh yeah.
Like Kluger in that movie, like you said, he's a total goofball. The whole thing's his fault, trying to impress the other guy. But that moment of sacrifice, and he's not a badass during it. He's very sad and scared and tearful. It really hits.
Yeah, absolutely.
When a little touch I really love is how the big tough guy, the like leader of the punks, I think
Yeah.
his name in the movie is Suicide. He is so abrasive and mean, and he freaks out anytime anybody says anything to him. And yet, when they hear their friend is in danger, he's the first guy who runs in to lead the charge to save her.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm reminded of apparently the writer like said in interviews like he was sick of seeing punks portrayed as mean because he knew so many punks and they were like the nicest people he ever met in his life, and I think I'd agree with that assessment given the punks I know. Uh, and I don't know, it's just like it's fun seeing that poured wholeheartedly into the story. Yeah, Suicide is immediately noble and helpful in that moment, and he gets his brain eaten for the trouble. It's great.
Yeah. I think my latest review of Return of the Living Dead is some people say this movie is too cynical. And it portrays, every civilian in America is an idiot, and every government official, is a conniving, scheming monster who doesn't care about human life. And I take a different approach to this film. I think it says that we can overcome our differences, and we can come together,
Yeah,
and we can find new, worse ways to fuck up than ever before.
absolutely. No, right there with you. Like, would even say that like the universe being cruel and random, it's not an especially cynical take. If anything, like there's a oh god, I forget his name, Brendan Mulligan, I think, guy who's very well known for being a good like live game GM these days. And there's a thing that he said about how he writes magic in his setting. And if I keep going, I'm going to start ranting about how D&D is structured and shit like that. And I don't want to do that today. But there's a thing that he said in specific about like how you can't write this kind of story where the power of love has like physical magic power. Because if you do that, then what you're sort of implying is that everybody who like died or got hurt in this story simply wasn't loved enough. And that's fucked up. I think that Return of the Living Dead is kind of doing that a little bit, where it's like, no, being an action badass and hero isn't going to protect you from the horrors out there, do it anyway because it's the right thing to do, and I like that.
Yeah.
Like it's not saying that as it doesn't have a moral. This isn't a fucking uh, bedtime story, but you know, it's got that vibe going on that I respect a lot more than like oh, doing the right thing will always work out. No, doing the right thing
Yeah.
fucks you all the time.
Yeah. There was what was it that I watched recently? Oh, have you seen Blowout with John Travolta?
Blowout?
Yeah.
No, never heard of it.
Oh man. Okay. I wish I had gotten to recommend this to you earlier in the month because it is a quintessential Fourth of July movie for me.
Ooh,
It does not take place on Fourth of July. It takes place on a fake holiday called Liberty Day for some reason. It's just all about like, yay, America, but whatever.
all right,
Um,
fair.
John Travolta is a guy who records sounds for horror movies, and they, in the latest movie they're working on, at the climactic scene, they need to scream, and the actress they have on set just cannot do a good scream to save her life. And so, while he's told you need to go find a good scream, and we need new wind, new leaves rustling, new dogs barking, we need everything.
Yep.
So he goes out that night with all his equipment. He goes into Central Park to record, and while he's there, he sees a car crash. The tire blows out, and then it goes into the lake. And so he dives in, and he finds there a dead guy in the front seat, and there is a woman in the back. And he manages to break the glass, pull her out, pull her to safety, get her to the hospital. When they're at the hospital, he's told, "You're sure that girl was in the car?" Yeah, I pulled her out. You see who was in the front? No. And they point at the body, covered in a sheet. That man was probably going to be the next president. He was a political candidate. He was running for president, and he was probably going to win. He's like, oh, damn. I say, just for his family's sake, don't tell anyone about the girl. And so it becomes a conspiracy thriller, basically, as he becomes convinced that this was not an accident, and the sounds he recorded can prove it.
Ooh, that sounds really good. John Travolta. All right, all right.
It's like early, it's 1980, so boyish charm Travolta, which is weird to me because I've
Ooh.
only seen like Pulp Fiction Travolta before.
Yeah, no, I too am not that old. Like I get it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Throwing that on the list too.
But the review that I don't remember the whole thing I wrote, but it's about how in America the worst thing you can do is often the right thing.
Yeah,
Because he's not doing this for glory or to get a book deal. He's like, if they murdered this guy, people have to know. I think at one point he says, if they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone.
yeah.
And someone asks him, well, who's they? So, very
Knows?
good. Brian De Palma directed. It's really good.
That sounds like a lot. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Hell yeah. All right. So, it is approaching midnight where I am, so I should probably wrap up or at least start winding down for bed. But thank you so much for popping by, my man. It doesn't look like we got any chatters whatsoever, but it was really nice taking the time to chat.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I was glad to do it, and I'll be glad to do it again.
My pleasure. I will probably continue to try to do stuff like this. Since the VOD is going to be going up on YouTube later anyway, just for quote unquote continuity's sake, anything you want to plug before we get off?
Just my channel. You can find me at The Eternal Night Show or The Count on Curdles. I think my actual YouTube at is The Eternal Night Show. Search either of those and you'll find me. I've got one video up so far, but I have a few more in the pipeline.
Okay, and I'll try to link to that when I get the thing up on YouTube as well. Oh, we've had Eggman here this whole time. Yes, hello. You have funny timing. But yes, we're wrapping up about now. Thank you for swinging by, the Eggman. Lol, did you try to call me out? No, I don't think we did. Huh, funny timing. Anyway, yes, I am wrapping up for the evening. Wait, you were on call? Wait, is that the name? Is that the Twitch of somebody that's in the collab server? All right. Well, either way, yes, stream was good.
So, well,
Either way,
thanks for being here. I hope the sound of our scintillating conversations did something for you while everything was on fire.
yeah. No. Well, I mean, I think that if there's anything that the podcasting community does not get enough of, it's two white guys talking about movies. So I think that we're in the clear on this one. No, on call is an on call for work. Ah, gotcha. Either way, catch you next time. Night, folks.